What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dragon's Lair. We've got Sam and Chris in the house, and without further ado, the guest of the evening, we have Mr. Jerad Neeve Knives. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, Jerad. Definitely meaningful. I've been asking you for a while, and it's always not easy to nail down time. So really appreciate you making some time for us tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me, and thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome, man. So, Jerad, we've known each other for a while. You've helped the channel for a while, and certainly appreciate that. But recently, we were able to hang out a little bit in Blade Show, talk a little bit about our knife, talk a little bit about all kinds of crap. And I guess to start it off, we have last week's live show got canceled because I was traveling a bunch, and so unpacking Blade Show a little bit, I think I have some questions for you about your trip to Blade Show. I certainly can answer my own stuff, but the first question I have is, was there any major surprises this year in Blade Show? Did you find something that was like just put you on your ass a little bit, and you were like, holy crap, like this thing is unexpected?
Yeah, well, there was me getting fucking sick. That was one of them. But besides that, which I'm still dealing, man. I have no hearing out of this. It feels like this side of my body is like 6 feet underwater. Like I can't hear nothing.
When I saw you, I mean, you had a rag in your pocket. You were like, ugh. I mean, I was like, all right, hug you and get the hell away from you.
Yeah, well, see, what's weird is people were telling, like, because we got there early to Texas. It was people were asking me, why did you go if you were sick? It's like, well, I went to Texas, I wasn't sick yet, right? I got to Texas, I was in Texas, then I got sick. And Kara's grandma was saying that, it might be the allergies because this time of the year, all the pollen and everything. And I never had allergies, so I really don't know what to expect from allergies. I never get allergies. I just don't believe in them, so I didn't know what to expect from that. So I didn't know if I was sick or if I had allergies or what. But then, then it started really kicking my ass. And I was hoping it was going to clear up. But by the time the show started, it just kept getting worse and worse. And I was trying to ride it out. But then on the plane ride, that's when it really fucked me up, because then my eardrum busted and now I got an ear infection. I've been taking antibiotics, but it just got worse and worse. And then like today I'm like feeling a lot better, but a little bit better makes a big difference when you're really that bad. So it's starting to kick, but I have waves, But as far as Blade Show though, there was the one, I showed it in that video with the most, the craziest stuff. That first, excuse me, I believe it was the first one I showed in that video. I can't remember, but it was the one that had like all the layers. It was like 24 karat gold on top of fat carbon fiber, on top of Damascus, on top of zirconia. It was just like layer after layer. That knife, I should have said it in the video. I didn't say it because I thought I asked the guy on camera, but it wasn't. That was $14,000, that knife. And to me, it was worth every penny. It took him over 2 months to make that one knife. So the other ones were much less because they didn't take as long to make. Yeah. That blew me away, seeing that type of shit. And then the packaging was the most insane stuff I ever seen. It like had these magnets in there, and then it was kind of like the bank, what the hell you call those things at the bank that go through the chute? The containers.
I know what you're talking about.
The transport container, whatever, that goes through the tube. It looks like that's when I passed it up. I thought it was an hourglass because he had it just standing there. And then I started thinking like is that packaging for like a bank or something, But yeah, man, that thing just blew me away. But I didn't know, and I still never saw him. I didn't know Machine Wise was there. And so I never got to see theirs. And then there were like 3 other guys I didn't know till afterwards, like that they were even there. And I don't know how I missed. I went line for line at the show, like literally. And you do that 4 or 5 times. You feel like you had like
was 2 tables down from KB Knives. Or Kubi.
Oh man, and I filmed KB. See, that's what's crazy about the show is, man, And Texas is small compared to Atlanta, and everything's small compared to SHOT Show. But in Texas, you feel like you could see everything, right? You feel like that. But then in the end, you're like, holy shit, man, I miss so much. And you don't realize it because they could be right next to you and you don't see it for some reason.
Yeah. Machine-wise, the one thing at Machine-wise's table that just blew me away was they had a full Damascus Sonora. It was machined out of a 1/2-inch block of Damascus. It was $3,000, and
that's an integral
DLC blade. I put a video up on it. Okay, I handled the thing, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like this. If you want the king of Sonoras, like this is it. So yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty off the chain.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for not whipping out the credit card. Jared's smart. He takes his wife with him, so he can't get him. But
yeah, I'm also, you know, and I don't keep it a secret. You know, like there's times like last year in Atlanta, I bought a few things for her, but typically I don't really buy too much because most of the companies will just give it to me. They'll send it to me. And half the time, if I do, like even like the last time with Machine Wise, I was supposed to buy that my Mojave. He wound up just giving it to me after the show. So, you know, like there's just no point. Now, if I want to support a company for no other reason other than to support them with money, then I might do it. But the best thing I can do for them isn't give them money. It's to put their knife on the channel and to get them reoccurring, you know, business basically. So that's kind of, you know, they know that. So that's typically, you know, the reason why I don't have to anymore. I used to. I've spent a lot of fucking money at those shows, a lot. I've even lost money. Do you know, what was it? I think it might have been last year. I bought Kara an OTF from Heretic. Was it last year?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, maybe it was last year, and I fucking lost it in one of the Ubers or something.
Or something. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something. And it's like, that's just, you know, the way it goes, I guess.
Dude, yeah. So let me run through the chat here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know a lot of people ran in here real quick, and we went from like, you know, 7 people to 35 real fast. And so
shout out to everybody.
Marco Big Hams is in here. Mo Patty, Casey Knives Fast. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, Jared, what's up,
brother? Let's see. Cliff Brott is here. Donald, Matt Conklin, We Pocket Fiddler, Ramses, my mod extraordinaire, appreciate you. William Hornbostel, Rachel. Let's see here. My father is in here. Daddy Wyvern up in the house. What's up?
Oh, sir.
Miranda Keith is here. We've got Robert Jones is here. Let's see. Bumble Shay. What's up, Shay? Good to see you. Unprofessional Dad, Chris. So this is going to be fun. Chris, by the way, I think we're going to go live from Wyvern's car on the way to Blade Show. And we're stopping in Kentucky to pick up Chris, the unprofessional dad. So he's going to take the ride down with us. So I think we're going to do a live from the friggin' car. I think it'll be hilarious.
We're going to go an hour and a half past the exit to get Chris to come an hour and a half back. I love it.
Shut up, Chris. I don't want to hear any driving jokes tonight. I don't need that crap tonight. Jared doesn't need that crap tonight.
He sets a cruise control in 35, and that's about it. So
that's Kara, by the way, in the chat. By the way, guys, my hands are right here. People are probably wondering how the hell is he typing in the chat right now.
Cat scratch. That's all right. I know you're like a multi-person team. Knife Pile, your camera guy, by the way, holy crap. Look, I don't often say that somebody makes me feel small. At 6'4", I don't feel small, but when I was looking at Captain Ricky doing one of his skits, and I backed up and I bumped into what I thought was a wall, and I turned around and looked up, and there was your camera dude filming you, and I was like,
he's a giant.
Crap.
Yeah, and he, people sometimes wonder, they don't know, like, is he security or is he your cameraman? He's like 6'9".
You should
And
say
I think he's more. I think he's more like 6'10". He is an absolute giant. And when I do videos, sometimes I want to make sure it's known, because me standing next to him, it makes me look like a really little dude. And it's like, and I'm not. So like, it's like, I just want everybody to know this fucker's a giant over here. But he, when we're on the plane flights, man, it's tough. It's tough, man, because he can't even fit. Like his legs are like we try to get the seats with the the doors, where you got to say, I'm willing to help and
stuff like that, exit row or bulkhead.
Yeah, or a front row or something, because like his legs absolutely won't fit. Just walking through doorways, he has to duck. So
yeah. Mr. Mouse is here. Brad Burkles is here. What's up, dude? How's it going? Jerad, I don't know if you've ever seen some of his stuff, and if not, you could check one of my videos out. But Brad Burkles is actually a custom knife maker, small town USA in Indiana, and he sends me stuff to review and whatnot. Good friend of the channel. But
folding knives or fixed blades?
Both. Right now, he's only sent me folders. And it's what's really cool about working with Brad is, I'll talk to him and I'll be like, hey, dude, like your choil over here, like you want to give it some life on the blade, or hey, man, put flathead screws here or whatever. And the very next time that he puts out something, it's fixed. And like, he's so willing to listen. It's so good, man. I really like what he's doing. He's coming along. He's going to be fantastic. So
yeah, that's one of the most important things, I think, from any custom knife makers right now, or even just makers period. When you can get that's why I was like with I can't even think of his name, the Franken blades. He's like 21 years old. And it's like, man, since he's so young, he's very impressionable, which is so good, because like he's going to listen. He cares. He's not like stuck in his fucking ways, which just pisses me off with some makers. Like when they're just like so stuck in their ways, they're not willing to hear or listen to anything. And I got to remember that as I get older, with the younger generation, like, be willing to listen to them, because there's going to be things that their technologies are just exceeding, it's like, certain people pave the way, but just because you pave the way, you've opened it up for other people to take in your stuff, your research, your whatever, and have went even further with it. So you got to understand that and be willing to, and if you do, that's when you get the best makers, the ones that are willing to do the little details, that you want.
That kid, that Frankenblades kid, that knife looks impressive. And Ian's in here. I saw, and I'm trying to get through to him. There he is. So Rob's Nerdy Knives is in here. I know he had an issue at one of his blades and whatnot. So he's kind of been going through some stuff for that. But it seems like they're making it right. It took a long time to get there, and then the lock interface was broken when he got it.
With what?
The frame lock interface.
Who's knife though?
That Franken.
Oh, okay, yeah. He, like I said, he's a younger guy. He's new. I'm sure he'll make it right. But that's one thing. You gotta, when you deal with mid-techs, custom stuff like that. Like even American Blade Works. Just about every knife I've gotten from him, I've had a little issue with. But not one time has he not answered me and said, I'll deal with it, send it in, and he's fixed it every time. So to me, I don't think there's no problem. There's no problem unless if there's, a problem with you doing something about it, know?
Yeah. No, it's good. And you're right about that as far as the younger generation with technologies and stuff like that, man. I mean, hell, Chris is 50. I'm 47. And I see it just with my own kids right now, what they come up with. I mean, at 6, my kid was outperforming me on most handheld tech and crap like that. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
They're growing up with it.
And you're a telecommunications engineer.
Just because he focused more on making knives. I can't see the whole thing. I think I see it here. Which makes me happy because I think it'd be better for his company. And Rob, are you talking about the Franken blades kid? I'm guessing.
I'll put
Or is he
that up
talking
on the screen here. There we go.
My steel bar insert broke. I just lost it. I see it right here. And he replaced them all. The lost knife was not Aaron's fault. That was totally USPS. Yeah, that's another thing that sucks is when that happens, because you always feel like you feel like they're going to think that you got it and that you're just lying. Do you know what I mean? Like if a company mails you something, right? And you paid however much money for it, and then you have to contact them like, hey man, I know it says it showed up or whatever, but it never showed up. Yeah. Like that's always like the hardest thing to deal with. I had who was it? I think it was Null Knives sent me some of his prototypes, and when you have prototypes, that's all you have, right? It's not like you have all the productions, you have extras, you have just your prototypes. And when I went to mail it back to him, it wound up bouncing from one state to another state for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. Just bing, bing, and we're like, what in the fuck is going on? I went to the where I shipped it from. They paid like $25 to track it down themselves, and they found out like that, what was happening, but they couldn't figure out why. Eventually, I think he did get it, but by that time it was like, it was almost too late, like, because the point was that was supposed to go to another content creator and, blah, 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 blah. So I know it just wrecked his shit, but luckily that's the only time that's happened. I've had companies send me knives and them get lost, but I've yet to have lost one yet. But now I feel like since I'm saying it, I'm probably jinxing myself. I guess I've had some overseas ones. Overseas ones have not made it, but that's typically, just part of the game of shipping overseas.
I've been so lucky with overseas stuff. So, Blaurock coming from Germany, I've gotten their orders when they've sent them. Rob Johnson's, which is Latvia, that came in no problem. So I've been lucky on the overseas stuff so far, but
typically receiving isn't the issue, because in America we're okay with knives. It's typically shipping to them, because what happens is some countries, they'll open it up and they'll look at it and they'll dissect it and they'll feel it. Like there's some places where it can't open up one-handed, or like there's just so many different things. But but I've only had a couple though. Most of them have shown up. Most of them have been fine. If you're really wanting to ever ship something and it is special, whether you're getting it shipped to you or to somebody, if you use DHL, they will get it there within a week, and it's guaranteed to show up, and it costs money. Like, it's expensive, but that's one of the reasons why, like, Polish custom knives, when you get a Herman, you get it shows up so fast, you almost think like this had to have been like in my town already. Like, it doesn't make sense, because he makes it an express thing right to you, and it's so fast. Like, you feel like I just put the damn order in. Like, what happened? But he does that on purpose, and he pays a lot for the shipping, which you don't have to pay for, and he pays the tariffs and everything. So that's one thing people have to understand. When you get from Polish Custom Knives, you're getting a fucking deal. He's covering like a few $100s right off the top, getting it to you.
Yeah, Rob Johnson's, Rob just said the same thing. Rob Johnson's does the same thing. I ordered my Rob Johnson's on like a Sunday, and I got it on a Thursday or something. So I mean, I was like, holy crap, man! I can't order from Blade HQ and get this crap. So like, that's freaking fantastic.
Same thing I said about Polish Custom. I can get it usually within 4 days from Polish Custom Knife.
I'll tell you what,
What's
man.
up, Chris?
I would say the first time that we ever met you, Jerad, was in Atlanta, and we started talking to you, and we had our prototype, and we had our CAD file. I'm like, you want to take a look at it? And you're like, yeah, here. And then you handed me a Herman. You're like, here, want to flip a Herman? You just walked off with our prototype. Yeah, and just let us sit there with your knife. You never seen this before. Like, here's a $2,000 knife. Have fun with it. See you later.
Well, I tell people, because a lot of times when I go to hand somebody a knife, I try to bring stuff that, one, is not going to be at the show, And two, people haven't gotten the handle. And the biggest fear people always have when I hand it to them is that they're going to drop it. And I try to ensure them that I don't care if they drop it. Like, it doesn't matter. If you drop it, I promise you, I will care nothing about if you drop it. If you get a scratch on it, because I don't want them to be, because that's what will make you drop it, first off. But I don't care if you really do. Like, people got to understand, the company sent it to me, right? Like, my job is to show it to you guys, and you know, and if I love it, you know, obviously express it and whatnot, to use it, to scratch it and all that shit. So I don't give a fuck if you did drop it. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me, but people sometimes are so nervous about it that I want to make sure they know, like, I could care less, you know.
Well, and what Chris is saying, so I'll paint the picture for everybody in the audience here. So last year's Blade Show Atlanta, Chris and I showed up with a 3D printed model of our knife, and we were wandering around. You were releasing the was it the Inmate last year at Wii booth?
Yep.
There you go. Chris got his. So
thank you, appreciate it.
So so we're sitting there. Jared's right there. Let me go over. Let me talk to him. And you know, my aggressive ass turns around, reaches in my pocket, and pulls out this plastic 3D printed model. And I'm like, "Here, Jared, look, I'm making a knife." so Jared checks it out, right? He's looking at it, he's flicking it, he's going over everything, gives me some feedback, and the biggest feedback was your finger choil. Just, you know, either commit to no finger choil and a sharpening choil, or add a finger choil, but you're kind of in between where you have this weird thing. Yeah. And you know what? You weren't the only person that told us that day. I think just about everybody did. So, you know, it was, and lo and behold, finger choil it is. So, but we, so Jared turns around. He's like, "Hey, you want to flip a Herman?" So he hands us a Herman, and now Chris is holding it in his hand, and Jared gets called away by like Zach in the Wild or something like that. So he goes and wanders off this direction, leaves the knife in Chris's hand. And Chris is like looking at me like, I don't know what to do. I have a $2,000 knife that's somebody else's, and he just disappeared. It was like, that's a trusting guy right there.
Yeah, I mean, man, I've been so blessed in this community, man. I'd be an absolute asshole if I didn't, you know, share it, and also, you know, trust the people around me. And people have trusted me with the most amazing things. When the channel was small, there was no reason to trust me. And, you know, to a lot of people's knowledge, you know, like I had shared, you know, my past and stuff with a lot of people. So, you know, people don't know what to expect, and I was always given full trust with everything. So the best I can do is to give that back, and that's why, you know, I try to give so much back, because, man, I had just one guy, and some of the people in this chat will probably remember him if they were watching the channel back then. I had one guy who chose to be anonymous, okay, sent over $40,000 in knives to me from Rocksteads. In fact, I got a Rockstead right here he sent. Hinders, Shirogorov. He sent me 3 Shirogorovs. He sent me like 7 Hinders. Fucking everything you can imagine. Like, just like, and to keep, not to use, to keep. And just let me keep them. And like, that was it's the most insane thing ever, right? And
well,
on top of that,
if you ever run out of room and you want to share, if you ever run out of room, just I'll give you my address. You just send them my way, brother.
I tell everybody I'm happy to send whatever, man. I'm always happy to send stuff. But even besides him, like, so many people sent stuff, you know, to keep, like, literally, like, to give away, to keep, to put on the channel, to add to the channel. And if not for everybody supporting, man, it would have taken me so much longer, you know, just because I had the community backing me up, you know, letting me borrow stuff, letting me keep stuff, give stuff away. And that's why, you know, I try to return the favor, because, you know, it's like, do you really deserve the blessings if you can't share them? So
no, I definitely understand. And, you know, Chris and I are starting to really begin to get that exposure right now, where we're starting to get some some things that are given to us or shared with us. You know, Lefty allowed us into the pass around group, which was awesome. You know, being a smaller channel and being allowed into Lefty's pass around group was a blessing. The amount of growth we've seen from that, just being able to access this, right? You just can't afford to buy every damn knife on there. So,
Nope.
you know, it's an impossibility, but having that gives us the ability to consistently make fresh content and stuff like that. So it's been really good.
Yeah, no, the pass around groups are really good for upcoming channels. There is a point of which you have to deny it as a channel, and some people, some companies, whatever, might consider you being a dick in this instance. But the reason why you kind of have to is because, well, there's a couple reasons. One, the company that sent the pass around is typically willing to just send it you directly one to keep, right? So if you already put it on the channel, they're not probably going to send you one to keep, which is more beneficial to them because now you'll get to feature it many times on the channel, especially if you like it. The next thing is that you don't get to be first, right? You don't know when you're going to be, right? You could wind up getting it way later, and typically as the channel gets larger, you're trying to be one of the first. You try to be, you know, you're not always going to be first, but you don't want to be the 75th person to feature it on YouTube, and 3 months later after everybody's already exposed to it. So
yeah,
eventually it does get to that, but the pass around group is massive for channels coming up, and it definitely helps a lot of companies that are coming up. And that's the part that people forget about. If you are a new designer or a new company or a new custom maker, you can send your stuff to a pass around group and get so much exposure. And but just know though, and if you are somebody that's a new designer or creator or whatever, and you're utilizing that, understand how much power that is and what you're getting out of it, because it is so much. Like, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertisement, free advertisement, right? So I can't stand it when I see somebody getting stingy or acting like, you know, like kind of like a dick when there's 30 people out there with a YouTube channel. It doesn't matter if they have 300 subscribers, 3,000 or 100,000. They're putting in the work, recording it, sharing it with their audience. And if they have 300 people as an audience, only 300 people, if 100 of those people bought that knife, you're talking about a lot of fucking money, like a lot of money. So don't get it twisted. It does not take a big audience to literally fulfill a company's dreams. Like, literally their dreams. You know, when you're talking about a $300-400 knife, and, you know, like, if they, for an example, if they are selling a knife for $300, and let's say they have, you know, $175 into each unit, you know, if you making $100 a piece out of each one, you know, and, you know, you sell 100 units, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of fucking money. You know, for a small, you know, maker, right? Like, that's so I just, you know, I think it's important for people to understand, like, the amount of not success, but the amount of, like, privilege that is to have in this community, because we definitely, man, we help each other in this community big time, way more than any other community.
Man. Jerad, I can't even begin to tell you how much we owe you on, as far as the help that you've given us, right?
No,
along
you don't
the
owe
way.
me nothing. You don't owe me nothing. I literally do. I'm privileged to be here, and I feel very good to be here. And I hope a lot of other people do too, because it is a privilege to be in this community. This is a badass community, and to be involved in it, it is a blessing in itself, man.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
well,
No,
one,
I
one
definitely agree.
the
ahead,
one
Chris,
thing
sorry.
I would say too, oh no, you're good. One thing I would say, Jerad, is that one of the things I've always appreciated is you don't shy away when a knife has problems, right? And I think that that's one of the things that I've always appreciated, is that there are a lot of people that don't want to take the chance to say this is bad because they're afraid maybe they won't get knives or they won't get that back. And one of the things that I've really appreciated over watching you over the years is you can acknowledge what's good and you can acknowledge what's bad. Or here, if they did this different or that different, or, hey, knife makers, pay attention. And I feel like I've seen the industry shift because of the feedback and the honesty that you've given. And that's really, really cool, man. So thank you.
Yeah, I actually was just talking about this because every time, a small channel or somebody is trying to, come up, they ask me for advice. One of the things I try to remember to say to everybody is to be brutally honest. Now, don't beat up a company for something that's not, that's not warranted, but always be brutally honest. And when a company is really good to you, don't let that fog up your ability to be critical over them, because what'll happen is it's very easy for a company to kind of try to win you over. They send you a bunch of products and you're like, man, it's cool getting these products. It gives me content on the channel. I can use the affiliate links, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes they'll donate stuff to you, like money in your chat, stuff like that. Like they're really cool to you. And you feel really bad when something shows up and it's a mess and you got to just drag it through hot coals. But do it for multiple reasons. One, the community's watching and they can tell, like, if you're full of shit, first of all, but also they know if a company's been sending you stuff. So if they can see that you can be critical over that company, then they trust you with the next one. And then also it puts a company in their place to know that you're going to be brutally honest no matter what. And I've never, only a handful of times have I seen companies say, I won't send you anything else. Of course I have, but the overwhelming majority of companies know that's the game. And if they're really good, they'll take your advice and make it better. But most of the companies, man, they understand that's just a part of it. So they deal with it. And so it's only good for you. There's no downsides. The other way, by bullshitting, it's good for the moment, but it's going to devastate you in the long run. So just take every time. A lot of people look at it like, okay, well, this is going to be a bad review or whatever, but that's an opportunity for you, right? Don't look at it as this is a negative. This is a positive, right? One, to be fair, negative videos usually do good for you in that regard. But the reason why it's good for you personally is just because that now you get the opportunity to prove to the audience that you're going to be honest. So take advantage of that, but don't do what some channels do. And that's why that one guy I fucking don't like, because I feel like he is literally fabricating things wrong in order to be a contrarian or in order to create negative reviews on companies and this and that. And that shows too. People can see right through that shit too. So I seen Rob asked, what's going on, Rob? Shout out to Rob's Nerdy Knives. What are your thoughts on knowing your subscribers and them knowing you? I gravitate towards certain knives, and those videos do way better because my viewers end up buying those knives. Yeah, I try to be friends with, like-minded people. I'm friends with a lot of people in the community, people that are nothing like me too. But, I got a pretty crazy past, so I have a pretty crazy personality. So I can pretty much get along with just about anybody. But no, I think it's awesome having friends in the community. But as far as the videos that where the things you like, that's kind of what you want to do. Is you want to find the things that you do like and talk about those the most, right? Because if that's what you're carrying the most, that's what you like the most, the more you talk about something that you genuinely really love, the more people are going to want to buy it and find out. What you don't want to do is do that with something you don't like, right? Don't take something that just because it's expensive or whatever and start constantly showing it and bragging about it and talking about it, making it sound better than it is, because the people are going to buy it and they're going to figure it out. Now, obviously, we all want to help, a small creator and this and that. So I think it's good to kind of build them up a bit, but, to let everybody know, they're new makers. So, there's going to be challenges, kind of like Frank and Blades, right? He's going to have his challenges, but he's doing incredible work for how old he is, man. Like his work is on par with people that have been doing it for years longer than he has.
Yeah.
So it's easy to recommend.
Man, there's been a few knives that you've reviewed that your reviews have swayed me to make the purchase. And yes, I did use your links, just so you know.
Damn right. Thank you.
But the one that
that
stands out the most to me, and where I can literally say you were the most accurate I've ever seen you in any video, is right here. Okay, this knife.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
When you first and foremost, you're a psycho for the way you sharpen that damn thing. But besides that, is the idea of how this thing tings. Like I bought it because of that ting, and I'm still absolutely addicted to this knife. This knife was last year's knife of the year for me because of the fact that it literally followed my entire checklist of everything it needs. So, I mean, this thing was pretty wild, and I owe this purchase to you, man. So, very happy.
You see they have the small one coming, right?
Dude, I am absolutely getting the small one.
Yeah, I have to too.
And
they said it'll be out. I think by within the next month it'll be out. Maybe a month and a half. It's
supposed to be end of April, I believe.
Yeah.
I was invited. We were invited, I should say. Chris and I were both invited to SHOT this year by Best Tech. They were gonna send us out there because that's our OEM, and we partnered with them on a couple of things, and so they wanted us out there. I honestly, so that's the week of both of our birthdays. You know, mine's January 23rd. His is the 24th. So we were like, it's going to screw up everything for birthday week and blade shows. And it's like, I can't do all the traveling everywhere. So I passed on it. And then after watching all of your guys' content there, it blew me away how much knife content was there compared to rewind 5 years ago. Right. I mean, they've really stepped it up to where SHOT Show should be shot and blade.
Oh, agreed. It was weird that for Texas, they denied me a media pass, and they said that they weren't doing the media pass anymore. Now I can get the media pass for Atlanta, so they're still doing it there. Melissa did back me up, and she went and talked to him because she used to actually work for Blade Show. So she went and had a discussion with him and said, you need to make sure he gets one or whatever. But I found that to be really weird, because again, the privilege of being able to open up a show and have people come in not being paid, but coming in on their own fucking dime or on companies' dimes and filming and advertising this thing. Like the amount of people that has grown every year of these shows, even the community. Like when I first started the community, holy shit, has it blown up, and it ain't slowing down. So anybody who has a channel is just starting and thinks like, oh man, there's just these big channels, and trust me, everybody has room to grow. This community is getting so big so fast. It's not slowing down either. It's blowing up. There's plenty of people on this planet. So, but yeah, man, the shows are incredible. And have gotten bigger and bigger. And I don't know if they're going to be able to, but it would be really cool to see Texas be the big one. That's what they're talking about possibly doing. Atlanta is big already, but Texas is small compared to Atlanta, and everything is small compared to SHOT Show. SHOT Show is just insanely
I was baffled by how big that damn show was. That thing
I think it's almost too much, man. I'll be honest, it was almost too much. We had over 60,000 steps each day, and that was just the show. Like, that's absurd. There's like 28 rooms or something. I don't even know. There's so many fucking rooms, and some of them are so massive. You can't get to everything in that one room, let alone the other 20. Like, it's I don't know how some people do it, but that was my first year going to SHOT Show, and never again am I going to be as unprepared as I was, because now I know, like, my feet, my partner, the big guy, he had bleeding blisters for like a week after that.
Oh my god! Yeah,
you're gonna have to take a scooter.
That's what We were saying that we should show up with an injury.
Just Neeves on wheels. There you go.
I did that one time, actually. You know, it's funny. I went to Six Flags. We have a Six Flags close to us. And I went to Six Flags, and my dad was got paralyzed. So when he got paralyzed, we have all the wheelchair stuff and blah, blah, blah. And we learned that if somebody is handicapped, they can bring up to 4 people with them, and they get to skip the lines, and they get to get right in. So I got in this chair, and I pretended to be handicapped. I know this is bad, right? But, my dad was a cripple. So, I felt like, I was like, I can do this. So,
dude, I hope you went to church after.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it was crazy when there was these rides where you do have to climb some stairs. So now you got to get out of the chair and pretend like you got a problem, right?
And then you carried your chair on your shoulder going up the stairs.
Well, what was funny was when we went to leave. When we went to leave, we're rolling out, and as soon as we got to this one part, I just jumped up and started walking. You watch like 60 people turn their head, like, "What the fuck?" Because I just started walking. They probably seen me throughout the day. But yeah, I mean, it worked. It definitely worked.
So I saw a couple comments in here. First, I know Rob's Nerdy Knives had mentioned. Here you go. Buying stroppy stuff with his viewers, and that the stuff changed your stropping. Couldn't agree more. Watching your reviews on that and getting diamond emulsion stuff has absolutely been a game changer on putting edges on knives and bringing them back. So,
yes.
Couldn't agree more. Then I saw another comment regarding a strop of yours. Robert Jones, there we go. Aluminum strop that's on the site is awesome too. So there's somebody.
Adventure 50.
There it is. We need to ask Jerad about his aluminum strop. Looks legit. So,
yep.
What's the story on the aluminum strop? I guess they want to know, like, is that like good stuff? I mean, obviously it's on your website. I know you wouldn't sell shit, but I mean,
so the actual comp or emulsion, the diamond emulsion, I wouldn't. My whole plan over a little bit of time when I first started the Neeve Knife Co site was to put things on there that I actually use and that I personally would buy. And I also wanted to do it for different budgets, right? Mm-hmm. So like what I would personally buy at this budget and what I would use for this budget. So if you see it on there, typically, and it's in your budget, whatever that is, then it's typically going to be the best of, that price range. That stropping emulsion, I tested. I couldn't tell you how many stropping compounds, and I tested everything. And I still shout out other companies, stuff, because there's still a lot of great stuff out there. But to me, that stuff's the best. It's color coordinated, and its concentration is just so good. It's amazing. And when you actually use a stropping compound that actually is highly concentrated and has because the reason why it's expensive is because in order to make a stropping emulsion at the consistency, because that's the key, consistency, you can buy diamond dust right now, very cheap, and make your own. Problem is like, say if it's a 6 micron, the average is going to be 6 micron, but it's going to be range between 12 and 1 micron. And if you have a 12 micron diamond just randomly in there, it's not 6 micron, right? Because you have 12 micron scratches. So in order to get 1 micron consistent, it's difficult, right? It costs a lot of money to have them make, consistent compounds or emulsions with between 2 and 1 micron size diamonds. And that's what it has. And then it has a high concentration. And then the oils that it's made with help suspend the diamonds, and it spreads over the leather really good. The type of leather you want to use that emulsion with is going to be smooth side leather, which I did a whole video on. Our aluminum strops they're heavy bricks of aluminum. They're made in the USA. It's got the type of leather on them that I recommend for stroppy stuff. So technically the aluminum isn't really going to do you any benefit other than it being really cool. It keeps your fingers out of the way, so the construction's really nice. But we also have the plastic ones if you don't have the money for the aluminum. But the aluminum one's not that expensive. Like there's wooden straps that are more money than our aluminum ones. So it's just really cool though.
Because it's aluminum, does it provide any more weight than like the wood?
Oh, it's heavy as shit.
Yeah,
you
so
can hurt
that's what I
somebody.
mean. Like,
Guys, it's a multi-tool,
like this,
you know.
Yeah, so I mean, if
weapon.
you just put a wood one down like this, you're not gonna do this without it sliding. But the aluminum one, you can do that where it's just gonna sit. So there are some benefits there as well. So
yeah, and also, you know, with it looks really cool. You know, when it's in your hand, you know, you actually can feel the weight, which I also think there is some benefits to. When something's so like the plastic ones, they're great because they're super affordable. But again, like you just said, if you set it down, you can bump it and that thing's gonna fly across the room, right? You know, just like when it's in your hand, it's so light. Like it's almost easy to kind of move. With the aluminum one, it's got a nice solid weight to it, so it's really easy to keep firm in your hand. I'm not sure if there's any benefits to that. Maybe not. But it feels cool, man, and it looks good. You know, it's a heavy chunk of aluminum, but I personally love it. I like the plastic ones too, but yeah, the aluminum ones to me, man, at once I almost don't use my other ones as long as I have an aluminum one for some reason. So it just feels better.
Right. Yeah. Adventure 50 said you gave him some advice when he only had 300 subs. He's up at 3,300 now.
Nice.
And he has a collab going with Waxed Wing, which releases next week. That's awesome. Yeah, Lance has grown a hell of a lot and super good dude. Love the guy. Great friend. He's from New Jersey, which is where I'm from. So the next time I head out that direction, I'm definitely going to connect with Lance. So, you know, I'm super happy for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Absolutely adore the guy. Awesome. So awesome. Congratulations on all your success, bro. You deserve it. You're working your tail off for sure.
Yeah, and that's an awesome collab, man. Wax Wing is great. He's another young guy, but you know, it's awesome seeing him being willing. I think we were one of the first ones he ever collabed with, and it's awesome seeing people collabing with him. And yeah, and I never write off anybody, you know, no matter how big or small their channel is. You know, I you know, if they come to me and ask me for help or advice, I try to do the best I can. Yeah, it's good to see some consistency before you contact anybody. You know, like, you know, you want to see them trying first, you know. A lot of people, you know, contact before they start, and then the biggest answer is just start, right? You got to start. Like if you're going to do it, even if you're doing it, like you don't have to do it to be a content creator. You can do it as a business, right? It doesn't matter, but whatever you're doing it for, start it, because that's going to be the best way for you to, it's the future, right? It's the future of communication. It's the future of getting your products out there, whatever it is. If you are a content creator, it's the future of, you know, companies, you know, getting a hold of you to, you know, to utilize. So, but yeah, man, never count anybody out, because I know even with myself, when you know when the channel is smaller, a lot of companies count you out and won't respond to you or treat you a certain way. But you know, I always knew, like, you know, my foot was on the gas, so I always knew that there, you know, the time would come. But I never held it against them, and I don't think that's good either, because I think that if they're not willing to work with you yet, that means you haven't put in the work for them to do it. So that's, remember, their business. So just know, you know, keep putting the work in, and then they will.
Yeah, no, 100% on that. I agree with you. You know, we're seeing that now, and I started. I mean, as I said before, I'm aggressive, and I'll tell a funny story in a second. But you know, in the beginning, I would send emails out and, hey, send me products. I want to review it, and you know, I want to be like Jerad Neves. I want to be like Metal Complex, and it was like, yeah, who are you? No, that's not going to happen. And you know, then. Recently, Geo Knives, Big Eye Design. So, I mean, just a couple of companies started actually responding and kicking some product out to us, and Olatons. And I mean, granted, these aren't the Hermans, these aren't the Machine Wise, but you know, you got to.
Those are good companies, right? Still. Those are great companies. I accept the stuff too.
Still, absolutely. So. And you know, I certainly appreciate that from them, and so it's 100%. But going back to what I was saying before about being aggressive. So I'll tell you a funny story. Just get to Blade Show, Texas. It's freaking 8:30 in the morning. And I'm wandering around. I'm in there with Concepts booth this year. And Casey Spearon sends me a text message, says, "Hey, man, I'm outside." So I said, "Okay, I'll come out and see you real."
Oh, sorry. Nothing. Never mind.
All right. So Casey sends me a message, says, come out. I'm out here. I'm waiting. So I go run outside real quick to go see him. And he gets in the door. Once he gets in the door, I see Melissa walk past me. And she's got her camera guy and half of her entourage with her. And I'm like, "Casey, hang on a second." So I turn around and I just make a beeline at her. I'm like, "Melissa, you got to try my knife."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "I am so backed up on making content right now. I just can't." And I'm like, "Here, make content." And I just like hand her the knife, and I pulled my phone up and I'm like, go ahead, play with it.
Yeah.
And Casey's like, "Holy crap, dude, you are so aggressive." And I'm like,
well, one thing you have to understand, Melissa now is doing kind of what she wants, but at one time she worked for Blade Show. So because of that, I'm not going to speak for her or say anything personal about her or anything like that. But when you work for a company, they set your schedule, right? So you don't really get to pick who you want to see, talk to, and all this stuff. Even me, I wanted to do an interview with her one time, and it was basically like, if you see me, come up and just talk to me. She's like, "But I can't, schedule anything," right? She's like, "Because I don't do that." And I understood what the reasons why. So don't take anything ever personal with that stuff. It's not even like they're looking at a schedule that's so packed, they don't even know if they can fulfill it, and they have to, right? They have to. So, but now she's doing stuff on her own though. So it's going to be a lot different now. But yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do sometimes, man. Fucking just go in, man. Just go in.
I just go and take it, man. That was it. I had to take the opportunity, right? And
got the bull by horns.
That's it, right? I see the biggest content creators. I feel like I have an opportunity to go after it, and I'm going to go after it. What's the worst that happens? They say no and they keep walking. Well, then I'm in the same place I was before, right? So no harm, no foul on that. Exactly. Next year I'm going to drag this ugly mug with me to Texas because I'm not letting him get away with it 2 years in a row. He couldn't make it this year, but we're going to be in Atlanta together, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I've definitely had where I've tried to get a little bit better with it because I'm so used to being on camera now that sometimes I'll walk up to a table, or at least I was doing this, where I walk up to the table and I just start filming. And I definitely had a lot of dirty looks. Now I come up to a table, I typically ask them if it's okay if I film. I ask them if it's okay, because I never try to film them, even though they are in public, but I'll try to film the knives, but they always think the camera's on them, and sometimes people will run, sometimes people will hide, but sometimes, man, it's like they and I've said this before on lives, they'll look at you like you just fucking, like they don't like you, like they know who you are and they don't like you. So and I've learned that. So now I go up, I ask, because then if I find out they don't like me or whatever, then no, so be it, right? It doesn't matter. I might like them, they might not like me. I don't really care. I'll still like them. But at least I'm not going to film if they don't want to be on the channel or whatever. But some companies do it they don't, I don't know if they know they're doing it or not, but they see you coming and they're just looking at you dirty, right? Like they don't even want you there. And then all of a sudden with me, they'll see people walking up and saying what's up and wanting a picture or whatever. And then all of a sudden now they want to know who you are. Right. And it's like, why did it take that? Right. Why did it take that for you? Because it's like, if somebody's coming by, whether I have a camera or not, you should be excited to see whoever walks up to your table, because you don't know who they are, right? You don't know if they're willing to buy, not buy, or if they do have a camera on them. And half the time, you don't know if they have now, because we have glasses. I don't, but like Ray, he's got glasses with cameras on it. You don't know, you could be being filmed right now and not know it. Ray did that to me at SHOT Show. He's got a post up. We were at lunch and we went into this area, this room. Well, it's like it was like, I don't know, dinner or something.
Auditorium.
Yeah, but I thought we were still outside because outside it looks the same. Like there's the boat guy and everything outside. So when we walked into this thing, the sky is blue. There's like fake birds up there. There's a river right next to us, and he's talking to me, and then I realize we're inside. We're not outside no more. But I have no idea he even filmed that until I seen it posted on, social media. But it's because he has the glasses, so he can just kick them on at any time. I loved it though. I thought it was funny as hell. But yeah, man,
Dude,
you don't know. So
Ray in Texas. Ray in Texas was absolutely off the hook with his $4 billion backpack and
I love him to death, man. He's awesome.
Transformers friggin' camera on his shoulder. It looked like he had missile machines on there, and he was wondering.
He's so excited to have that. He's been talking about that with
candy store.
We've been talking about that for like well over a year. Like he's been wanting to do that for so long. That backpack, he deserves it because he's been wanting it. We've even discussed going partners in on it and shit like that. He is built for that. He's really good at it, and he's worked so people don't even understand the amount of work he's put in. He had his channel before I started mine. Sorry if I hit the mic. So he started way before me, and our channel kind of blew up, and he kind of got stuck in a rut, even though he was doing everything right. He wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just sometimes it's the luck of the draw, right? And I, me and him, we were still stayed friends. I kept trying to, hype him up. There was times he wanted to get out. But he has that warrior mindset, which he's just like, no, fuck that. I'm digging my heels in and I'm staying and I'm going to do it until. And he continued kicking ass. And now he's doing great. Now he's successful with it. So, man, I applaud him, man. He has had his back against the wall for a long time, just fighting his ass off. And now it's paying off. So that's awesome, man. I love to see it. And he is one of the most genuine good dudes. Like that's the thing. Like you people and everybody here will see this if you go to shows or whatever. Some people put on a face, obviously, right? I definitely am not one of them, but a lot of people do. Then there's people that are just them, right? That's Ray, right? What you get on camera right there is exactly what you get in person. Yeah, he is 100% the same person. Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Ray's energy is contagious. I love that.
Yes,
that is 100% true, Derek.
Yeah.
He is well, I can't call him gigantic. He ain't a gigantic guy, but he is a big ball of energy, right?
Yes.
Just running around. And you can just tell, like, every time, hey guys, look at this. Mm-hmm. I mean, just pick at everything under the sun. Like, he is so happy. He is in his element, and I couldn't be happier for him. And absolutely loved watching him do his thing, because he was just, you could just tell it was watching pure joy happen and unfold for 17 hours essentially on camera, right? Which, by the way, that's how long that dude lived for. 17 hours. I
didn't realize that. Holy cow. 17 hours. That's nuts.
He went 9 the first day and 9 hours and 42 minutes the first day.
That's crazy. Yeah. That is so insane. And man, like, I don't know I know people have went live there, but I don't think anybody's ever done it like that, because usually you don't have the service. And that's why he has the backpack, because then he can, get full good service. And his shit looked good the whole time. So it definitely paid off for him. Tomas is another one, man. He's a ball of energy, man. Every time I see him, me and him, man, we have a very similar personality. So me and him, we always hit it off. Luke from Cold Steel now, Calculated Survival. Now, he's the face of Cold Steel. He's another one, man. Same thing you get on camera. He is such a good dude. He's one of the kindest, nicest people like that you can talk to. Kind of like Ben from NAFS. Ben is just one of the most nicest guys.
Yeah.
Seth too. Seth from We Knife Co. Oh my God, dude. I love that dude, man. He is so fucking awesome. And like, if he knows you and you're friends with him, man, that guy will bend over backwards for you. Yeah. Kara was sick one year and wasn't feeling good, and he offered her his hotel room to her to go so she can go sleep. No, and actually, I'm just saying one of the hotel rooms for her to go sleep in, you know, so she didn't have to run around the show.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, just such a good
Machine-wise
beard,
or hog house? Sever7, Derek from Sever7 wants to know, would you do machine-wise or hog house, Jerad?
Machine-wise, both of their stuff is incredible. So I want to be clear about that. Their machining is pretty on par with each other, but one thing that Machine-wise has that Hog does not is they're using the flat D10 ball. So what I'm trying to utilize with some of my D10s right now, or some of my knives, is a D10 post, which is a little different. That's similar to what you get from Prince Customs. Machine-wise, he hand flattens large ceramic balls, and it gives you that crispy D10. So now, don't get me wrong, Hog House's D10s are great. I'm not taking anything away from it, but there's something special, that little bit, you know, like, because when you're separating two incredible companies like that, it is going to be the little details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hey, Jerad,
absolutely.
William asked, he said he's about to buy some pink stroppy stuff and wanted to know if you had a discount code you wanted to throw out to everybody.
I do not have any discount codes right now. Hopefully in the future we can, you know, us just getting started, you know, it's we're struggling to keep things on. So I don't have any discounts right now, but hopefully in the future we will. We are offering affiliate links to content creators and stuff. So, you know, that's obviously, you know, gives them a commission, and I think that's important. But you know, I can if you get a hold of me after the show, I might be able to hook you up with something, but I don't just on hand have one.
Gotcha. I bought some stroppy stuff from you not long ago, and you're talking about, you know, the hit and wee. It's funny you said that. I was playing with this one. I bought this off of you on on your whatnot one night, and so
it's a good one.
Oh, dude, it's so fun to play with, and it's funny because Sam said earlier, you know, he bought the Taipan because of you, and I bought this concept. I don't know if it's a Tarico or something along those lines, but because you were going through your favorite concepts, and it was the one that had the best action, and I bought
great front flipper, right?
Dude, it's amazing. Yeah,
it's insane how good it is. Some knives, and you'll look at them and you'll just be like, what's different about that from something else? But then you'll get it in hand, and it's just like the size, the weight, the way it molds in your hand, the way the front flipper is, whatever it is. Just something like KB Knives has that one thumb stud action knife. The way the thumb studs are so close to the pivot, something about it just makes it just snap, and it feels like something like you don't feel ordinarily from other companies.
Yeah. Derek, I'm gonna bet, just knowing Jerad well enough on what he just said, same answer is gonna come out, right? Rob Johnson's or Machine-wise, it's the same story, right?
I'll say this though. I'll say this: if you're gonna get Rob Johnson's, and I almost never say this, there's only a handful of times I say this. The smaller one's better than the big one. Get the smaller button lock. It's an exposed liner lock button lock, so it's not a
cedar
conventional button lock.
Cedar.
That one's better than the big one if you're going to get the cedar.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they weren't around when I got mine, so I have the full-size cedar. Number 312. I have a Zerk Blasted Vanix one. Absolutely love the knife, but I got my hands on one in Texas, the Mini, and instantaneously had added it to the list. So that will come.
It's
home
better, right? Do you think it's better?
Fantastic.
I mean, I like large knives, but that one's better than the large one, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel. I like also the two different ways to close it.
It's a totally different knife. I mean, just absolutely totally different, but I absolutely love it, right? And it is fantastic. And I saw Rob had done a video today. He I don't know if he bought it or if he's just on loan, but he has a mini Veli from Hog House that he was videoing. So I know they have pre-orders open right now for those. So I don't know if they're still available. They opened up, they had a lottery for numbers, and then they had a couple slots left over, and Tapio sent me a message yesterday and said, if you want one, I'll open it up for you. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna wait.
You know,
I'm gonna wait till you put out the milled pretty ones before I pull the trigger on that. I just don't want a plain one.
a couple production knives that are really good right now. This one, man, it's actually blown me away, man. But the Zero from Kaiser with the hollow ground drop bear Zero, I think they're sold out everywhere, but I have some on my Neeve Knife store on Amazon. There are some available. So if you want, and they have all the colors available, at least they did earlier this morning or yesterday.
Nice.
But these are so awesome. The detents, you would think this was a detent post, the way it feels. And man, it feels like a $300 knife that you can get for like $120. And then another one, if you like the style of the drop bear, I think this is one of the most underrated Kaiser models. I'm going to do a whole video on underrated Kaiser knives because I have a whole list. Same thing with Neeve Knife Co. But the Tyco, it's very similar to the drop bear, but it only has a single thumb stud. So if you like thumb stud action the most, it has an incredible thumb stud action, but it has even better ergonomics. It has same blade shape. It's a little bit longer than the drop bear. So you're basically getting a little bit longer, a little bit more ergonomic with only a single-sided thumb stud. But man, the Tyco is badass. This one's M390. I believe it's DLC. I'm not 100%, but what a badass knife.
How does that crossbar feel? Normally, I'm not a big fan of crossbars typically because a lot of times they're pretty spongy. How does that?
Well, this is the clutch lock, so this one has a much better crossbar. So it's adjustable for one, and you can always increase it. They also send Omega springs that are a little bit stronger. So, but these are, I would say, if you've tried crossbars, don't even consider a clutch lock the same because they've mastered the taper where it breaks the detent is much earlier, much crispier. Like it's a lot earlier. So you get an actual snap. It's not like the Benchmades and stuff like that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this from a sharpener's perspective. I just saw another video and I'm not tested this, but I saw a video a guy did earlier today where he was testing Kaiser's Nitro V. And he sharpened past the factory stuff, did 3 sharpenings on it. And he was getting consistent, but fairly poor results on edge retention. And I know, again, Nitro V isn't what you buy when you want a lot of edge retention, but he was talking about just the steel was too soft and there was a few on Kaiser's. Do you run into that same thing? And I'm not saying to call out Kaiser or anybody else. I'm saying
no, I wouldn't in a heartbeat. I found that with their super steels, not all of them, but like if you talk about the Rex 45, I had that with the Rex 45. They were running it entirely way too soft. Now their 4V, I had good results with. Their 3V, I had good results with. But I've never had a bad experience with their Nitro V. Typically, Nitro V is a very easy steel for companies to heat treat. Now, that doesn't mean it goes without flaws. So he might have got a flawed one. That's probably the case. I bet if he got a different one and tried it again, he'd probably get different results. Because Nitro V, similar to 14C and AEBL, it was designed, like AEBL was made to be heat treated on a conveyor belt, meaning like it's made for mass production, exactly what you're getting from any of these mass produced companies. So when you go to a mass produced company, the best case scenario for a good heat treatment is to get their steels that were made for mass production because it was made for razor blades. So it's made for knives and it's made to be heat treated, very quickly. And so typically it'll do well between 57 HRC all the way up to like 63 HRC, has a very wide range. Obviously, the higher the HRC, the better the edge retention. He probably got a lower HRC one, just happened that way. So it does happen. No company is going to be without flaws, no steels without flaws. But typically, Nitro V and 14C and AEBL is very easy for companies to get right.
Yeah. Are there companies that you avoid steels in just because of how they prepare them?
Yes. Yeah. But he's talking about like just like good companies. I avoid. So I wound up buying one of Hinder's knives in Magna Cut, and when I was gonna buy it no matter what, But this was after I had already tested MagnaCut thoroughly. And I went up to the booth and I bought it. And then I asked him what the HRC was. And I think he said at the time 58 to 60 or something like that, or 58, 59, something like that. And I was like, why so soft? And he's like, well, that's what the company says, whatever, blah, blah. And it's like, well, that's a fucking lie. But regardless, Hinderers, steels, nothing against Rick Hinder. I love his designs, man. I love his work. I wish that this one thing could just get better, and that is his steels. I wish he would increase the HRC in his steels. You got to pick one, right? When you're talking about knives, if you want a tough knife or strong knife, tough knife, thicken up the geometry. That's how you get toughness, right? Yes, you can lower the HRC on the steel. That will increase the strength and the toughness, but it decreases the edge retention. So it's not a good thing to do. Keep the HRC high and just thicken the blade up, right? That gives you the toughness. I promise you this. If you take a knife that has, I don't know, name a steel that's Rex 121, right? Rex, one of the most brittle steels, and you make it, a quarter-inch thick, 50 thousandths behind the edge, it's gonna pry anything you want compared to 3V with a thin blade, right? So I think, like, if you're gonna have geometry like Hinderers knives, there's no reason to have soft steel. There's no reason. It doesn't make sense. You already have your toughness there. Like, think about this. All the companies that use 20 CV and M390, which is what they use a lot on their stuff, how many of them do you see running around with snapped blades? Like, you rarely see that, right? People know how to use their knives, and typically people aren't going to use their knives stupid. So why would he have a problem with his thick blades? Like, just running it on a nice HRC. Now my edge retention will be better, because when I sharpen those, like, most.
So were you talking about Hinderer? Were you talking about older Hinderers, or are you talking about newer ones? So Rob's actually inquiring because he said that they changed it from Backlash, like Bradford did. They put out a high hardness version after Bradford.
I didn't know that.
Had the same situation.
Well, I'll take everything back if that's true. I haven't heard that. I don't know that. Now, that might be for their MagnaCut. I'm talking about all their steels, period.
Oh, okay.
Like, so, like, when I sharpen their 20 CV up, other companies, most companies, like, if they're doing it decently well, if they're doing it 60 over 61, I can recommend with a low angle edge doing a mirror polished edge on that steel, because it will do very well. But theirs doesn't, right? It just doesn't. Like, if I do a polish on it, it pretty much goes dull pretty quickly. And even if I put a medium grit edge on it, it goes dull very quickly. Like, even with a low angle edge, like, I do everything right to have a good edge holding, ability, and it just doesn't. Maybe they've upped it since those, don't know, but that would have been one example. But there's quite a few examples, though, of that, where, like, I would avoid blank steel from blank company. But that's not saying that company isn't doing any steel right. Usually there's going to be a steel that they do well. Like Hinder, their S45 was good.
That's actually what Rob followed up with. He said, only talking about their MagnaCut, he'd still get their S45. So yeah,
their S45 was good. Yeah.
So here's something. So I've got a couple of offenders, man. It's top 5 favorite knives for me.
Oh man, I love hearing that.
I've got a couple of them, and like I said, so
got mine too.
Sam's got one as well. Here's what I say: I forget the name of the channel, but the guy was doing the hardness testing, and he called it out. I loved how you handled it, because you didn't throw a fit. You're just like, hey, I'm going to look into this. And you took some off your shelf and you had them tested. And then ultimately that guy was like, I got to buy all new equipment because clearly I'm wrong. And he went out. And
that guy, I hate to, no, I don't really hate it. I'm going to talk a little shit right now, but he, and I don't care about this. This I actually was happy to see, but he used me, Metal Complex, Melissa and whoever in his thumbnails and stuff like that, which I applaud. He should. Like, you should do those things. Like, when you're building a channel, you should utilize what works. And if other channels are going to get you clicks, then use their faces in your thumbnails and stuff. That's good. But when you're, and this wasn't about that, but like with other companies and just knives, it seemed like every video I would watch, it seemed like he would come to a conclusion of negativity. And I started feeling like he's not being fair. He's looking for opportunities to be mean. Then I started seeing that he took me out of context multiple times. Like what I said which was very easy to follow. I didn't misspeak. I didn't say things weirdly. I said it perfectly. And then he took the information I said and came to a weird conclusion. And I seen that happen a few times. And I couldn't help but think, like, how the fuck do you hear the words and come to this conclusion? Like, I couldn't understand it. I even contacted like Alex Outdoors because he said something, and the guy took what he said and came to a conclusion. And I was like, I just want to make sure I'm not fucking crazy right now. Did you mean this? And he's like, no, I meant what you thought. And I was like, okay.
Stirring up crap.
Well, it's like, I don't know how his brain works, but I didn't like the way how like it would manipulate. I know it was probably on purpose, but I don't want to put. Yeah, it seemed like to most people that followed or that was paying attention, it seemed like he was being in bad faith to get clout. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like he was using whatever he could to get clout, to get clicks, to piss people off, to make people aggravated, to be the guy who calls people out. And I'm the guy, I don't use affiliate links and all that shit. When I hear that shit, I automatically think something's wrong. Like, because it's like, because it's like there is a point of like, are you retarded? Like, are you stupid? It's kind of like when I hear somebody say, I'm not monetizing my channel. It's like, YouTube's going to monetize your channel, dumbass. Like, they're going to still put ads on your shit. You're just not going to get your cut. The fuck are you talking about? Like, that's just crazy to me. But like with that stuff, like when you can come to some of the conclusions, like it's just, to me, like one, for example, he was saying, I think it was, a knife I had, when I would just barely shake it, and I'm talking about effortlessly, it would fall open. And he came to the conclusion that I don't like knives that I can shake open. As if I can't do that with like 99% of all knives, right? I can do that with almost all knives, but he came to the conclusion that I meant that I don't like knives that shake open. When I clearly said this knife, if I just barely shake it, it falls open, right? And so then he like started, basically like saying something about my detent on my knife, because my knife he could shake open. It's like, well, yeah, you can with most knives, you can whip open, right? What's that?
He said you shook it super good.
Right. But yeah, I just but yeah, everybody probably knows who we're talking about. But yeah, I don't even watch this stuff anymore. I don't even follow this stuff. I don't see it in my feed anymore. I know he did take a hit after the video that he did on mine, because people came to me when he did those HRC tests that were faulty. They thought something was wrong. That's the only reason why I did the response. I was never even going to make a response, but I had people coming to me thinking their steels were compromised. I didn't have a choice, right?
Yeah,
so I had
but
to
you handled it the right way. That's the thing.
I appreciate that.
So Gunmetal James wants to know if you will ever make another run of misdemeanors. I know I've asked you that 100 times.
Yeah,
I'm doing. Sorry.
I said the right answer is yes. I want a misdemeanor so bad.
I am doing one, but it's going to be a little different. So I'll just say it here. It's going to be a little bit shorter, and it's going to have a button, probably a button exposed frame or liner lock. So basically you'll have the same action as before, but also a button attached to. So you have two forms of closing, kind of like, I don't know if I have a knife here with it. I don't think I do, but you guys know what that is. And then the pocket clip will be slightly different. And what else? There was one other thing. The jimping will be it'll be different. It'll be sharper jimping. And I think that's pretty much, and then different finishes, different, patterns and stuff for the machining to make it different. But I'll probably do the same steel, same geometry. I'm going to try to have the same ting. If it does not, I'm going to possibly put something in there to make the ting. something. Probably put something in there.
Something.
But yes, it will. I have to get done the stuff that I'm right now that's in the works that I'm working with Riyadh on right now. And once that's done, we'll be working on those.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I was in the whatnot the night that you were doing one of them, and it was one of it wasn't a regular model. You'd Frankensteined it a little bit, and it went up to like $750 or $800, and then the guy couldn't pay or something.
I
don't
think
know if
I think I'm going for a couple grand on the secondary market. Man,
Yeah.
crazy.
So I was just gonna say last night I every once in a while I look one up, right? Just is there one on Blade Binge? Is there one somewhere, right? There is one right now on eBay that they're asking $1,900 for. And I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I handled yours at Blade Show, so I know how good of a knife it is, but I just can't fathom paying 1,900 beans for that. You know, like
if you gave me a guaranteed lifetime sharpening for it, I just had to send it back to you. I might pay $1,900, but
no, I mean, I agree. I wouldn't either. I would try to just get on the next batch. I know that me making a different batch and it being different will make that one very unique. So that is true. I did hear of a couple people recently that were able to get both the offender and the misdemeanor for a reasonable price, much better than some of the people asking. So, that's awesome. I mean, I'm definitely flattered that people are doing that. And I know some people have paid a pretty good penny to have it, which makes me feel really good. But I also understand why some people are going to say, I'm not going to pay that much for something that was originally $320,
Yeah. And I mean, look, Chris remembers it wasn't too long ago when we were looking for Cole's original Tri-Stash and we found one on there. And what they want, like $1,800 for the all black one. And I was like, yeah, no, you can kiss off on that one. That's not happening, man. So
yeah, I'll sell you mine for 15. So
that's hilarious.
When you design a knife, again, because you come from a very different background than a lot of designers, being a sharpener. So is the knife steel one of the first things that come into your mind for the design, or do you select the steel based upon the application, or do you build the application around the steel, or build the design?
So I first come to two conclusions before steel. One, what do I want the knife to be for? For an example, like if I want it to be a very utilitarian knife, then now I know I want my tip to be center with the pivot or lower, right? So now that's coming to the conclusion of the blade shape. Do I want them to be able to cut down on a flat surface? Do I want them to be able to do certain things with it, like skin? Do I want it to be very slicey? Do I want it to be able to pry, staples, those types of things? Because, coming to that conclusion will lead me to the blade shape and geometry. So that's always the most important, the blade shape and geometry. So once I come to that conclusion, then I will start thinking of the steels to amplify that, because the most important thing to edge retention to everything is the geometry, right? Like, just like even like toughness, right? Like the most important thing to your edge not being brittle or your knife being able to pry and all that stuff isn't the steel or the heat treatment. It's literally the geometry. You can take a non-heat treated thick billet of steel that's pry bar and pry with it just fine over something that's heat treated and very thin. So I go to that first, and then then I'll start thinking of the steels and, the finishes and stuff like that.
Nice.
So what is this Bulldog? Hey, Sim, I'd like to ask Jerad if he thinks it's a good idea to approach companies as early in this as I am, with the attitude of not asking for free products, but just to get on their radar.
So two things. One, I didn't contact any company for anything free until companies were basically reaching out to us. We contacted one company, and it was when we were at, we didn't have a ton of subscribers, but they were also smaller at the time, and we didn't ask for anything free. We asked for an exchange. Can we exchange a free knife, and we will do photography, We'll do a bunch of things like that. They said yes. They sent it. It was only a $30 knife, and that was Kubi. But I never reached out to any companies asking for free products until they started reaching out to me. Once companies started reaching out to me, that's when I started reaching out to companies, because I felt like I want to be worth it. So I want the companies to feel like I'm worth, the thing, because you always have to answer that question. Is it worth it for them? Is it worth this loss of, say, if it's a $50 knife? Is it worth losing the $50? Can they get any gain from it? If you can't come to the conclusion that they can make at least $500 off that $50, then don't even ask. They have to be able to make money off of it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean they're always going to make money off of it, but there has to be at least the potential. So what I would do is I would wait until you have enough of your catalog built up with videos, then start reaching out. Now, before that, what you could do is just get in their feed, comment on their posts, say things, let them see you over and over and over and over. I promise you, they see you in their comment section 5, 6, 7, 10 times. They're checking your channel out. I promise you. They're looking for people. They're always looking for people. They have people looking for people. Like, they don't even do it. They have people they hire that go to their posts and look for people like you. So what you want to do is you want to be on their radar. Then once you're on their radar, they'll be reaching out to you. So if they haven't reached out, nobody's reached out yet, then I would literally just build your catalog and just continue doing it. Continue doing it. Eventually, yes, start reaching out, start talking to them, and just don't start off crazy, but also don't undervalue yourself, but when they do send something, this is the hard part. Be brutally fucking honest. And they might send you something that's going to be their worst product, because that's the thing they need to sell the most. And it's probably going to be dog shit. And you're probably going to have to say bad things about the first company that was willing to send you anything. And that's tough to do, but you have to do it. If you don't do it, it will backfire in the future.
Yeah, what Nick Shabazz say, might be junk, might be a gem. We'll check it out.
Yeah. It is what it is, and that's on them. That part's on them.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've learned along the way on this ride is to make sure that when you are saying something that you don't like, make sure that, like, for me personally, I always make sure I point out whether or not it's something that's subjective or an actual problem. Right?
Yeah.
I don't like this jimping doesn't mean the jimping is bad, and Jerad doesn't
Not
like
for you.
the jimping, right?
Right.
So and I also specify that, hey, I can feel this pocket clip. It's not creating a hot spot when I'm checking the ergos here. But at the same time, I'm not cutting a half hour's worth of cardboard in my garage right now. I can't tell you how this is going to feel when that happens, right?
Yep.
And I've been saying things like that lately to make sure that I point out to people that, look, this is not going to be a true cut test through and everything like that. I'm not putting it through the ringer and all that kind of stuff. So
it's an
people
overview.
need to understand that this is an overview, not a full review.
Also, you got to give credit where it's due, right? Who's the knife for and what's it for? I'm not going to review a knife and be like, yeah, this fucking thing won't even pry 2x4, so it sucks, right? Because it wasn't designed for that, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to review it for what it's for and also for the price range it's for. If you're a small creator, if you want to reach out to any companies, go to the smallest brands that, like, they're literally just getting started. They'll probably send you something for the exposure, because they're trying to get footsteps in so that you'll know who they are later on. People always remember the ones who helped them, and vice versa. So the companies I came up with are a lot of the big companies now, but the companies that are small now are going to be big when you get big. So work with those companies. Yes, their stuff might not be as good, but review it for what it is. If it's a $20 knife, what can you expect, right? So consider that, right? That doesn't mean you drag them through hot coals because it's not as good as a Herman. You look at it for, who's the guy who buys a $20 knife and uses this? It's going to be somebody who probably beats the hell out of the knife and isn't worried about some of the things you're worried about. So, you can consider that. So it doesn't mean you have to eat it up for things that, it isn't deserving. And those companies will typically work with you. A lot of the companies that are just getting rolling, just getting started, they'll typically send channels with 100 subscribers, 300 subscribers stuff, because they understand that those 300 people, if only 10 of them buy, then that means that they've made their money from sending it to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, look at it like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We still have not gotten a monster company to send us stuff like, there's no Hermans, there's no Machine Wise in our arsenal. The ones that I have of expensive knives came out of my pocket, right? Mm-hmm. But I did reach out to, so Olaton's in the last year, I think, has taken a big step in the quality of their product. I think they have turned the corner and they're starting to produce some some very good stuff, right?
They do some really good stuff. Yeah. Phenomenal stuff.
I looked at that as an opportunity and I reached out to them and I said, hey, I'm a fast growing channel right now. I'm doing well. I do a lot of reviews. I'd love to get my hands on a product of yours to review. I'm happy to send it back to you when I'm done or pass it along, whatever you'd like me to do. I make it known that I'm not looking to just, plunder for free crap, right?
Don't ever think about it like that. Don't ever think about it as free, because it ain't free. It's not free.
No,
you're
right.
filming it and you're posting on it. It's an exchange of value, and you are making less than they are. You always got to remember that. That's always the case. I don't care if it's $1,000 knife. They're making more than you are. So because the exposure of video, the amount of money it takes to get a video created, for them to clip it, repost it, and for you to, thing is oversell it, right? And I don't mean like with your words. What I mean is like create multiple videos on it, make little shorts on it, make it to where it's worth it for them. And if they see that, they're going to send you something else, because those videos last forever, right? If they can spend $500 sending you a couple products and they get 30 videos out of it, that's like $30,000. So of course they're going to do it, right? Why wouldn't they? But you just gotta be willing to put in that work. That's the thing. No matter what, when you start, you're putting in far more money and far more work than you're going to get back. That's with any business. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what business you start. You're going to be spending more money than you're making, and you're going to be putting in way more effort than you're getting back. But that's called, you're investing, right?
Yeah.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agreed 100%. And Chris and I see that now, right? I mean, we've been buying merchandise and we've been doing all kinds of stuff, and the websites and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, right now we have a little bit of merch up on the website right now, but everything is on the out and not a whole lot coming in just yet. But that's the investment of the business. It's launch costs, right?
Do you believe in yourself? That's the question. Do you believe in yourself? If you believe in yourself, 100%. The investment's easy.
100%. I absolutely believe in it. You handled our knife in Texas, and I mean, from my perspective, I took it as a very positive interaction. You had a lot of great things, nice things to say about it. Everybody that I handed it to had great things to say about it. Our second design is absolutely phenomenal. It is off the hook crazy, and we just got pricing back from OEMs there. I'm pretty sure, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're heavily leaning towards Riot right now on making that the choice as the OEM.
They're great.
So yeah, and so I mean that means our first two designs went with Best Tech and then Riot. So I mean 1A, if you will, on the OEM worlds right now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so,
they're both definitely the leaders.
So I think from what they're putting out and what we've got, everything is different, right? I'm trying not to just drop this boring ass drop point blade that everybody else does, right? We've got a new blade shape now. The second one's going to be real interesting. Tonto, and then it's going to have a reverse inlay that you can actually change out. So you take the knife apart and you can change the inlays out. So be pretty wild. So you were snarking. Did somebody say something in here that I missed?
I will say, if you can ever do something, if you're going to be a designer or creator, you got to find a way to separate yourself. Kind of like you were just saying, you got to separate yourself somehow, some way. If you can do that, if you want to guarantee this is going to sell, this is going to do well, do something different. And I don't mean go so wild. It's never been done before, you know, in the world, blah, blah, blah. I don't mean like that. But like something, it could be something small, like kind of like with our misdemeanor doing K390. What other companies did K390, especially at a 90 thousandths thickness with a deep hollow grind on DLC? I never even knew of other K390s that had DLC except for Spyderco. So that was just one thing, right? That's one thing that it hasn't been done. But if you can come up with something even better where it's like it's even bigger, you're guaranteed it's going to do well. But you have that's a lot more difficult though, because anytime aside from like the steels, like I just said, you always have a problem with that too, by the way, because you got to figure out if they can heat treat it well. But anytime you do something different, it takes much longer. So just know that what you're getting into, that just you might think like this is so simple, it's so easy, right?
Oh, no,
I can draw it on paper, it's so easy. It's not, and it will take much longer. Like right now, just me getting that damn detent in a crossbar is taking like over a year, right? When another knife, you know, took like 4 to 6 months, right? So it's like that's just that's just part of it, right? Anytime you're doing something different, hasn't been done before, expect, you know, just lock in, because you're gonna be there for a while.
You speak the truth. I mean, look, I mean, this is crap, Chris. I drew this a year ago now at this point, right? So, I mean, we're still at prototype phase. There's still a change to be made next month, or this month. I'm sorry, it's April 1st. So, this month we're supposed to be getting our new blades in. Those blades are going to have a hollow, a deeper hollow grind. We're raising the line up, getting thinner behind the edge. Yep. We're going to make that thing vicious slicey.
Nice.
If all things go well with that, Chris and I are going to open up a pre-order.
Yeah. Well, what you don't want to do is you don't ever want to jump in early. I've seen a lot of people do that where they're like, oh, it only needs this. It only needs this. And then it's fine. I'll just trust them to do it. You're right. That's a risk, because it might not be what you think. You might say, I want sharper jipping, and then it's less sharp. That happened to me, right? Something like that, right? Like, and so you want to be certain and you want to be happy. The problem is once you've done 2 prototypes, you're like, man, this has been so long. I don't have more money to pour into this. We got to get this show on the road. So you'll wind up pushing out something that maybe you're not as happy with as you would have been if you just did one more, you know, so do that. I promise you it'll pay off way more than rushing it. You don't want to rush something, because that can backfire massively.
Yeah, no, we're certainly not rushing this. I think from what Chris and I feel like, this knife is very close to dialed in. Where we felt it fell short of expectations was its cutting performance was just not really where it could be. It cut, honestly, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It performed like a Conegarius, basically.
It didn't slice quite the same. I would say it performed more like a Hinder. But we cut it. We did the same test using
leather
and Arius, and I would say that it didn't slice as well, but it did things like popping open the zip ties a lot better and things like that. You know, a little bit thicker there, and it went through. But but cutting cardboard, it didn't do quite as well as the Arius did. But it wasn't far off. You know, to your point, it wasn't like it was 50 or 75% worse. It was 10% worse maybe. So but we're also like 4 millimeters on the back spine too. So we're pretty wide at the top. Yeah.
Wicked Dreams wants to see the knife. So I know I've talked to him. So when we were still early on, I had commented on one of his videos, because I don't know if you've ever seen some of his stuff, Chris. Besides his knife, right? The what's called the nefarious. But he also has he does like the mirroring on the blades and stuff like that. He does all the mod
shout out to Wicked Dreams, man. He's got some awesome stuff.
Yeah, he's got some sick stuff. So he checked out everything. But let me share a screen real quick. I'll show you the knife, man. So here is the Gracchus right here. So 8.15 inches, Vanex, titanium. It's going to be hollow grind. We're going to raise the edge up higher here.
Raise the grind.
Jimping, as you can see here on the spine, goes basically from handle all the way to tip with one little gap in the middle there. And the action on this thing is just, I mean, ridiculous, absolutely insane. So smooth. This thing, if you're not careful, you'll catch yourself. And I don't know if I could see it, if you can see it on the screen here, but we did some small Timascus pivot collars on here for just a little pop of color here, just to break up the boring on here. So looks really cool. Belt satin. This is the full belt satin DLC version. So we have that. We have a stonewash, which I think I saw Big Mark say so clean. So here you go, brother. This is a full stonewash version. And then we have, this was supposed to be blurple. It came out pink. So we're calling it Blurpinkle, and we can thank Lefty EDC for that name. But this is the belt satin blade. They did a really nice job with the belt satin on this thing. And then we're going to offer a fourth finish, which is going to be the belt satin with a stonewash handle. So we'll have kind of like a plain Jane with a belt satin blade. So it's gonna, we're offering 4 finishes on there. It's gonna look really, really nice. And ergonomics wise on this thing, absolutely ridiculous. You can choke way up here. This finger choil is ridiculous. The pocket clip on this thing is, I mean, Jared, you put it in your pocket, right? One hand in, one hand out. So, I mean, it's just, we really paid a lot of attention. And Jared, a lot of your videos were an inspiration to what we did to make the little changes. Every little thing that you've always said, hey, you know, if they would have put the ramp longer on the pocket clip here, it would have fixed the problem. Hey, underneath here, put a little flat spot underneath your clip. Make sure that it doesn't get on your lock bar relief cut, right? So we put the lock bar relief on the inside. We still put a flat underneath the pocket clip. So, I mean,
it's the little details, man. The little details separate everything. And you're right. Your clip was one of the smoothest I've felt at the show. Very impressive because that's not easy to do. People, when you get a good clip, you should be just jumping for joy because I can't tell you, like when you're at a show, you find out fucking 80% have a shitty clip. Like it's like something that's very difficult for even myself. Struggled with companies trying to get them to understand. Now I've gotten it down pat, but it takes time, man, to get them to understand exactly what you're wanting. You'd think they would just automatically know, but that's not the case. So it does take some work. So, but yeah, it's the little details, man. The little details make all the difference. That's what separates the good from the great.
Yeah, man, I think for sure. The handle ergos make me want to stab yellow books. And
there you go.
Gen Z, that book with the phone numbers. Yeah, man, I haven't seen a yellow pages in I don't know how long, but the last time I saw them, they were like only an inch thick because all the white pages are gone now.
They're gone.
Yeah. So man, it's change of times for sure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into this knife. We put a lot of investment into this knife, a lot of thought process into this knife, and
Best Tech did the prototype, if I remember right. Best Tech did the prototypes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, they're great. So they're a little more expensive though.
So Best. I'll shout out Best Tech for a second on this. So so we were between Kubi, Riot, and Best Tech. Best Tech was the most expensive, and what I did was I honestly told them flat out. I said, "Hey guys, you're not competitive. Like right now, your 2 competitors are $40 a unit cheaper. So, you know, I'm sorry, but we're not going to go with you." And they came back and they said, "Let me ask you something. If we go back to the table with you and try to make this right, would you reconsider?" I said, "You're welcome to make a second bid on this if you'd like, but I'm just telling you now that you need to get real or we're just not going to work with you." and they came down and they basically sat right between Kubi and Riot in their final price. And Riot was still going to be my favorite to go with, except for the fact that they only deal with Nick Nichols, Damascus, and Timascus, and they wanted $100 for a set of pivot collars. And I was like, I can't. Yeah, like how the hell am I supposed to do that? Like to my customers, that makes this knife insanely expensive. I got to charge them $400 for this knife as my first knife release. Like that's real hard.
Yeah. When I was working with Best Tech, they were wanting, I was trying to do a fixed blade, and I was trying to get, I designed this piece to go on this leather sheath, and the piece, not the sheath, not anything else, just the piece, they wanted like $20 a piece for it. And it's like, what? Like we're not even talking about the hand stitched leather here. We're not talking about the clip. We're talking about the part that the clip mounts to. Like it's like, what? $20 just for that? Like it just doesn't make sense. So you gotta pay attention to all those little details. But again, the reason why was because it was different, right? It was different. They hadn't done it before. So in order for them to do something different, and them do it right, it just could cost more. I couldn't argue. I want the work to be great, but you're right though, man. There's other manufacturers that'll do it better or just as good for less.
Yeah, 100%.
But they are very. I will be honest though, it was great working with them. They did amazing. They did an incredible job working with them.
Absolutely, I have no problems with them. Absolutely none. They've done great work. They've been very communicative with me. They've kept me. They've stayed within their timelines, which shocked me. So I've been very happy with them. The one thing I would say was that just that first knock, right? Their initial pricing that they came out of the gate with, I had to call BS on it. I mean, it wasn't competitive, and they saw it, they understood, they got right. So I'm good with that. So
Jerad, your blades seem to really prioritize slicing. Like that really just feels like that's the most important thing to you. Do you have problems getting them to go as thin behind the edge or the edge angles that you want, or a very thin blade stock? Do you struggle with that and them to honor warranties for any of it?
Yes. So the only one I didn't have a problem with was Riat, and I already knew I wasn't because I've seen them do it before, right? Best Tech is also good at that too. You get them to do some crazy geometry, and other companies are starting to do it. Like we've recently seen Concept doing it. Other companies are realizing like, hey, these guys are knife guys. They're not prying fucking staples with the tips of their knives. Like these are knife guys, so they know how a knife works. They're paying extra money for the knife to get these things, and they understand that. But yes, it's definitely difficult at first. Like there's a certain thickness of blade that when you get down to, just like the steels, right? Like if I ask for a certain steel at a certain HRC, the problems go up like 20%. So that's a 20, that means you're going to have to pay that much more, right? So you have to figure out that balance of like, okay, well, how thin can I go versus how high of the HRC can I go without it costing, like 5 times more, right? So yeah, there definitely is that. But yeah, because I wanted my first designs, especially like with the misdemeanor, the whole goal with that was that this is not a hard use knife. This is a knife guy's knife. This is somebody that understands what slicing and performance is. It's a performance knife. It's kind of like if you get a performance gun or a performance car or performance anything. It's specific, right? It's made for this, and the people that are going to buy it are going to know that, so it's okay that it is that. And it wound up working out. But that's not to say if you sold that at Walmart, it would not work out for everybody. They're going to be breaking blades constantly.
Yeah, very true. I know. When I started thinking about some of the things, so Sam and I have a very interesting relationship here. He immediately goes to, hey, this is my design. This is what I like. And my first question is, well, what do you want to cut with it? And I start going to the steel. Right. And for me, it's like, I want to know that the edge integrity is going to be there. not necessarily for hard use, but like I'm in love with crewwear. Like that's one of my favorites. Crewwear, Ilmax, I like, and I know that Sam and I go back and forth on different things because I prioritize toughness, that can balance a good, hard enough to get a decent edge retention. Sam prioritizes corrosive retention or corrosive resistance and edge retention. So, we have this balance where we go back and forth. Where we're like, okay, well, you've designed it. What do you want it to be? And so my first thought every time is, what is our edge stability going to look like? What are we trying to cut? And then recommend the steel from there.
Yeah. The edge stability, man. Like when you start getting very thin, the thinner you go, the less stability you're going to have. Obviously the steel can help mitigate that. But once you get down to so thin, just like edge angle when you're sharpening, when you get past a certain angle or, at a low angle, it just gets more and more brittle. So you do have to account for that. Yes. And just like the spine thickness, how good do you want it to cut versus how tough do you want it to be? Also, the thinner you go, the less drop shutty it can be, all those things, so you got to consider all of that. Somebody asked me what my favorite design was. I'll say the ones I'm most proud of have not been created yet. They're not done yet. Because I initially did my first designs as a warm-up. And what I mean is I wanted to get a feel for the companies doing business in that regard, how it was going to be, doing manufacturing and all that stuff before I started doing things. Not that I'm not proud of them. I'm absolutely proud of them. But before I started pushing the lines on certain things. The stuff I have in the works right now is stuff I'm very, very proud of. I have like 7 things in the works right now, one of which I have 2 harpoon Warncliffs in the works, and then I have 2 or 3 harpoon shilling cutters. And I'm very proud of those because they're utilizing the detent post, which I think is going to be fucking badass, especially when it's used on a button liner lock. Then I have one with an exposed liner with a button attached that's also badass. And those I'm very, very excited about. I think that they're probably going to be, I think everybody's going to fucking love them. I really do. I'm truly excited about them.
You had me at hello.
Yeah. You just spoke magic words to Chris. As soon as you said shilling cutter, I saw his shirt rise a little bit underneath there.
and then a harpoon shilling cutter. Like we talked about
a harpoon shilling cutter with a hollow harpoon and a hollow grind, and it's also very thin. So like I have a couple different versions. So like I have a couple different companies doing different versions of kind of the same design, but there's differences between them. But 2 of them, it's very thin, kind of like quiet carry slim with still the hollow grinds and all that stuff. So it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Rob, to answer your question, for date night, dressed up, church formal, whatever carry, what's your favorite style blade, handle, material? I'll tell you, for me, obviously right now everything competes for pocket time with the prototype recently, but when I have to go to the office or something like that, typically I am carrying the Rockwall. So I have a Rockwall Skelly. It weighs absolutely nothing, disappears in the pocket. So that is one of them. And the other one is Tempest Knives Tornado, that tiny little 6.5-inch thing that Casey came up with. I absolutely love the Tornado. I think it's a great little blade. It does a great job. And, once again, same thing. It's nice, it's small, it disappears. And if you pull it out of your pocket, as Chris likes to say, Edna in accounting doesn't lose her mind and think that you're going to kill everybody in the office. So, that's kind of an important thing as well.
Here's my rotation for my work carry. My most is I've got a DLC tip from tail to tip on a Grimsmo Rask.
Nice.
The same flipper that everybody else just pointed out, the tactile. Yeah. Love that one, all DLC. And then surprising, because I said I don't like crossbars, but man, the Bel Air does it. I love that one. And then the last thing I carry for work typically is the TRM Neutron. I've got an Atom as well, and I just also picked up the Nerd. So those would be my rotations when I'm wearing like dress pants, if I'm primarily. And then Rob, I just picked up from you that Medford slip joint, and I'm really liking that one. And so I've started carrying slip joints a little bit because I don't play with them at work. They're
quieter.
Yeah,
you're not getting in trouble.
Yeah, if I'm sitting here like this at a desk, in a conference room talking.
That's me.
Yeah.
Dude, I was doing it Monday, man. I was sitting there. I was sitting in my office Monday, and I had one of the protos there because my boss was down from Michigan, and he wanted to see one, so I brought it in for him to see. And I don't know, you know how this is, Jerad, because whenever you leave me a voicemail, like I can hear your knife flicking in the background. It's absolutely hysterical. I always laugh about it. And I'm like, always with a knife, right? So I'm just sitting in my office and I'm listening to a conference call, and I'm like, click, 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 and all of a sudden it just dawned on me: my door's open. I'm in the middle of a corporate office, and I'm flicking a freaking 8+ inch blade, and I'm like,
at a Fortune 40 company.
Let's put this one away.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's part. I like to say this is part of the job, man. I'm just doing my job right now. Doing my job. I'm testing stuff right now.
Absolutely.
It's definitely addictive. It's an adult fidget toy.
What up, Loot? How's it going, man? So I'm keeping Jerad as all hell. By the way, I got Loot on CAD right now, working on one of our designs that we've got a collab going on. It's a top your lock, and it's the poor dude is I've run him through the ringer my last 2 designs, so he's earning his keep and some.
I feel like I'm doing that with QSP right now. I'm putting them through.
When you do your designs, do you ever put anything in CAD yourself, or have it put in CAD, or do you just send it off as a drawing to?
They don't care. I've had them tell me I can put it on a paper napkin, which I'm not going to do, but they're really good at what they do. But I've learned from my other ones that it's good for you to get the little details down as much as possible. Now, if you can't draw it, take pictures of it from another company or something you like that has done it, whether it's the type of thumb studs, the type of jimping, whatever it is, right? The finish, whatever. You can find it, take a picture of it. You can utilize it like that if you can't draw it, if you're not good at that. But most of the companies, man, no matter what, they have to put it into their language, into their system and their stuff anyways. So no matter what, they're going to have to do that. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good idea, because it is. Because if you do that, you're 100% going to get better results with your first prototype. With me, I do it the other way. Yes, I might have to go through 2 prototypes, but it winds up working out.
Sure.
I don't remember.
Sever7 wants to know, how is the gravity knife coming, Jerad?
Not good. So my first prototype was better than my second. I'm having issues with the clearance on the second handle. I wanted to make it where it slid right through the other handle. I could grab it right now, but the problem is that it's too flimsy. So I either got to deal with the blade hitting the second handle or figuring out something else. It's okay, baby. I can grab it if I need it. But it's difficult figuring that part out. I've tried to come up with maybe a mechanism where the second handle can't, or the blade can't come down until the second handle comes out. Because if you guys don't understand, let me just grab it so everybody can really understand. I think it's right here. What's that?
You the man. Fred the Lug, you the man. I don't know why I'm the man this time, Fred. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. You guys are going 100 miles an hour in this chat, by the way, so I'm not trying to ignore anybody. And forgive me if I'm missing anybody. I'm not trying to not say hello. I love you all. But it is when you guys start moving at the paces that you guys move at in there, it is so hard to keep up with this chat sometimes. So forgive me. I'm not ignoring any of you all. I'm just letting you know that when the chat moves at that pace, it's so hard to keep up. So hello
I always
to
tell
all.
people, don't be afraid to say something twice. You know.
Yeah, that's it. Just blow us up. It's all good, man.
You can turn it on slow chat if you want to, but anyways, this is what we're talking about. So if you look, it has that handle, then the blade, and it closes. So basically, you just flick your wrist out, and it'll flick out. And then I have a thing right there. You pop it down, close the blade. But this handle, every other company that has done one of these, they've never had a lock. Mine has a lock, and also a clip, and also mine's out of titanium, and has a deep hollow ground blade. The new one has a harpoon on it, but
and yours will also cut my finger off.
The issue is that all companies fill this in. So this is a solid bar right here. So the blade, if you misfire it, which you will, it'll come down and hit the edge, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that can happen. And then also the tip can scrape down it and stuff like that. So you have to be good at clearing it first. Now, there is a way to make sure you always clear it by just making sure, you do it a certain way. Like you don't close the handle until, certain things are clear. Like when I drop the blade, the handle, I don't throw up. I tilt my hand back, right? When I want to open the blade, I just flick my wrist out. So as long as you know how to do it, you're not going to bang it, but most people are going to bang it. So the only way I can do it is if I clear this out, then it's too flimsy. Now I have the stop pins being changed and stuff like that. I'm putting this one on the back burner only for a moment. I am going to still do it. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it where I can get this blade to close and the handle to close without having it hit. I've thought about putting just a piece of plastic there where if it does hit, it's not going to chew it. It's just going to chew up the plastic, and then it's not going to hurt the edge too much. And then maybe you can just replace the plastic. I've thought about stuff like that, but I don't know, man. It's tough because I wanted to take out the one thing that all of these always have in common, which is the issue. The other thing I thought of is that maybe I can have a mechanism where the blade cannot close until this has a clearance, like something on the inside here, like a bar, so that once this thing is moved out of the way, then this thing can close. But I don't know. It's a lot harder to get that stuff right. Like I said, if you're doing something that hasn't been done before, it's going to take a long time.
It's too flimsy with titanium?
And no, I wouldn't have thought so either. But yes, yeah, it's way too flimsy. I've even tried to increase the thickness, but remember, it has to have clearance for it to go around the blade. So it has to be able to fit into the handle, has to be able to fit in this slot and go around the blade. So even this one, like I can squeeze this together, and this is solid up here. So when you take that out, now it's going to be very flimsy. And so my second prototype was not even as good as this one because of that reason.
And then if you went to stainless steel on that, when it probably throws the weight off and the balance tremendously, I would assume.
Well, that was my next thing I was going to do was, okay, I'll just do the inside handle stainless. Well, now I'm not going to be able to get the color options I want, and it's still too flimsy.
Can you put a stainless liner in there?
I'm not sure. Like I said, doing it in stainless, this part in stainless, it's still the same problem because you have two separate pieces that are this long that have nothing in between them. So it just claps together. Yeah. It's very flimsy. So, like I said, I've come up with a way where the lock still works really good and that stays strong. So you could say, okay, well, it's going to be flimsy, but it'll still work. But, I don't want it to be flimsy, so I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I might come up with maybe a partial handle or something, maybe instead of doing the full handle, where maybe it's only like a half a handle, right? So only like from here down comes out, That way it has more clearance. So then by the time it's right here, it's already going to pass it. That's the next thing I thought of. I might do something like that. Thing is that secondary handle will be much lighter then though. So it might be more difficult to flick. We'll see.
Gotcha.
So Robin suggested or thought, what about magnets pushing the blade out on the channel? So I'm not quite sure what he means by that on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So I can't, the thing is I need it to be smooth for the open and close. The whole point of this is the fidget factor. Once it's open like this, it's solid because it can't close. Now, the way I'm going to have mine made with this open is there's going to be a stop pin on both sides. So that's another problem with doing the half a handle, is that I won't have the strength. Like this one's rock solid. And with this lock on it, this handle can't open up. So once it's engaged. So with the handle, so now it can't close without you disengaging the lock, pushing this out of the way. And then what I do is I'll usually hold the blade with my finger right there and then let it drop in order to bypass it so it doesn't hit the handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what I've thought about different things with magnets. So I'm not sure exactly what he means, but I've thought about different things with magnets too. I've thought about different things with bars. I've thought about so many different things. I've thought about hydraulic arms, like a screen door, you know, trying to think of all kinds of stuff, but I'm sure it might work. He says a magnet on either side of the channel on the top. So the magnet field is repelling the blade before it hits the metal.
Wouldn't that slow it down though?
Yeah, it wouldn't be able to swing freely, I don't think. And I needed to be able to pop out of the handle like that, like very fast. Because the point is that everybody thinks you go down and up. You don't have to. All you got to do is just go out. Like literally just go out and it'll fly out. When you close it, like I said, I just hold the blade with my finger. And I thought about doing a little stud right here. Look at how thin this blade is, though. This is super thin with a deep hollow. So this thing is very slicey, very ergonomic. I've had so many different fucking options for this that would look so cool, and it sounds cool. It has so much cool factor to it, but man, it is hard to do. I understand why every other company's made them hit the handles.
Yeah.
Which destroys the edge.
So Rob's asked if you could do honeycomb milling weight relief pattern on the inside to structurally make a difference. Now, it looks like those bars are so thin. I don't know that you have the milling there to actually work with or not. I
think that's what he's saying. Make it thicker and then mill it out on the inside.
Well, so that was the next option, and they seem to think. And no, because I probably tried little things that with the length of the bar, we can't come to a thickness that will make it, if you have a slot open, that won't let it clap. There's like almost no thickness that's practical. I know in your head you think so, because I did too. But then they kept telling me, and I forced them to do the next prototype the way I wanted, and it was as bad as they said. So I'm trying to believe them with some of the things that they're saying, like, listen, we're trying, it's just not working. Sometimes you think, like, you guys didn't fucking try, right? That's the conclusion I come to. Yeah, my brain says it works, so you didn't do it. But a lot of times, that's the case sometimes, but I don't know, man. I thought about doing like 3V steel, like let's do a super tough steel. We'll do it thicker, all these things, and maybe eventually we'll come to that conclusion. I just gotta, get them to make me some prototypes and do it. Thing is that with every prototype that's a fail, that's more money invested to something that maybe, like right now, you know how much money we have invested in the knife from Taiwan, and I don't even think we're gonna do it now. I don't think we're going to do it. And the reason why is because they will not do the steels the way I want. I am aggravated with the amount of back and forth I've had to do when they agreed with me from the beginning of all these steels they said they were capable of doing. Well, when I ask if you're capable of doing it, that doesn't mean dog shit soft capable. Like I mean capable of doing it at the HRC I'm going to want. And I'm talking about, like, originally we were going to go with Crewware, They wanted to do it 57 HRC. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, the softest crew wear I can think of is like 62, 63. It's like the softest. Like, I've never even heard of anybody doing crew wear under 60 HRC. Like, it does, and like, even if you were gonna, this isn't a machete. This is a folding pocket knife for edge retention. And I always tell them I don't care about, because they'll try to say it's not going to be tough. I don't care about toughness. I care about edge retention. And they weren't willing to go over 60 HRC with that. Well, it's like, well, I'm not doing it then. I can't do that steel. So then it's like, okay, what steel can you do? And then it's like, okay, well, the only steel we could come to the conclusion of was either Nitro V or 20 CV. And now I'm struggling to get them to do it over 61 HRC for either one. And I don't want 20 CV if you can't hit 60 to 62. You got to be able to hit that window. If you can't get over 60, I don't want it. And if for Nitro V, if you can't hit 59 to 61 and they're trying to do 58 to 59, 58 to 60, if I'm going to do Nitro V, which I don't want to do, by the way, I don't want to do it because the margins are much smaller then. So it makes it to where now it's like almost like, why do it? Because I want them to do it at 63 HRC, and they're arguing with me about that, and they don't want to do it, and they're saying all this bullshit. And to me, if you're not confident in that realm, I'm not confident in spending the money with you. Last thing I want to do is open up a fucking pre-order of $100,000 investment and then get dog shit steel. So it's just, when you have so many back and forths, it makes you less confident and less confident with every conversation. And now I've come to the conclusion that it's worth me to lose all the money invested than to risk more. So
you're not wrong on that. You're not wrong on that. Sometimes you got to realize a poor investment there and cut your losses on it, because it's more detrimental for you to put out something that's subpar. You know, you have reputation and everything else to uphold on that. So
better to lose thousands than tens of thousands.
Yeah. No question. You know, Chris and I just got recently, somebody sent us a DM, and it was a company I've never heard of before, and they are a company that produces the plates for other companies for handles.
Okay.
So they had reached out and they said, hey, can we help make a knife for you? And I was like, dude, I'm not a manufacturer. I'm a designer. Like, I have other companies do that. And they're like, yeah, no, we want to make knives now. And I was like, this seems weird. Okay, so let's have a conversation. So, I mean, essentially, they're trying to basically get themselves off the ground, because I asked them questions of, what's your MOQ? And they were like, oh, we'll do 50. And I was like, 50? It's like, okay. And I mean, asking them like, what they heat treat at. And he was kind of wishy-washy. Now, I'm not saying that he's fake.
All red flags.
Yeah, all red flags, right? And so I said to Chris, I said, I'm not saying that not to do this. I'm not saying we are going to do this. I'm saying, I think I need to have more conversation with him. He's legitimate business. I've looked into him. He makes the plates for Kaiser. He makes the plates for a lot of these bigger companies. Vosteed's plates are made through them.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a bad gig. Like, I mean, I get companies all the time reaching out the same thing. Typically, I will tell them, because sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not, and sometimes I just have to tell them, like, I'll look into the stuff they have done, and I'll come to a conclusion like, yeah, your work is just not up to par with the type of work that I expect. But what I would do, if you're ever going to deal with a company and you are kind of wondering, don't pay for it. Make them pay for it. Meaning, like, if they want to do it, you make a prototype for me and show me what you can do. If they refuse to do that, then that's the biggest fucking flag ever. A company that's already, got their feet in the ground, and already dug in a spot, of course you're going to pay for that. They have a reputation. But a company that doesn't have that reputation yet, you got to prove to me. Right? Like, I'm not going to spend money on something I don't know. That's like buying literally anything and not knowing what's going to show up. No, you got to be confident in that. And I even had a company reach out that is a company that's good and, is known, but they're smaller and they're coming up. They're doing great work, though. Everybody knows who they are. I'm not going to say who they are, but everybody knows who they are. And they offered to do my prototype for me for free. So, hell yeah. Because those prototypes are expensive.
Yeah.
But they're an awesome company, though. So I'm willing to work with them,
And I talked to Chris about it. I said, look, if we give this guy a shot, if we do, okay, I think I have an idea, and it's a crazy idea, and I haven't even said it to. I mean, him and I have discussed it, but I haven't said it publicly. I'm thinking about doing what we're going to call the community knife, right? So small MOQ, we'll run a bunch of different surveys in here, okay, and basically have all the people that are in the chat pick the different parts, the way the knife is going to be built.
Whatever the majority is.
Yeah, whatever the majority is, that's what it's going to be. You want a hollow grind, what's your blade type, what's your handle type, what's the blade style, all that kind of stuff like that. Build it out. I'll draw it. Then I'll show everybody what I've got. If everybody's like, yeah, that's cool, then let's build it, right? And then I'll open up, everybody that had their hand in the design. So in the community here, they'll get the dibs at the knife, and it'll only be a small batch. And if it comes out great. It's going to be inexpensive. I'm not going to run something crazy. I'm not going to run a $300 knife. I'm going to see if I can run a $120 knife or something like that instead.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't destroy everybody if it's not what you expected. But I think at the same time, it's a unique opportunity for everybody to have their hand in a design, if you will.
I think most people are willing to take a risk if it's a low, investment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you tell people like, listen, this isn't a sure thing, it is a risk, but it's a small investment. If we all invest into it, maybe it might be something really cool, and we'll be the only ones that have it. And if it winds up being really badass, we'll do another run of them, and it'll be because of you guys, right? I think a lot of people would like to invest into that.
Rob says, I vote Magnamax. Yeah, for a company I've never heard of, I'm going to go ahead with Magnamax. Yeah, Rob, you're crazy, bro.
I'm seeing crew right underneath it.
Yeah, I know. And I see Donnie Bless in here, Laser Ghost Knives. What's up, DB? What's good, bro? And then I just saw Clayton, Burning Stables Forge. So, dude, I have absolutely been loving some of the stuff that this guy has been doing. Jerad, I don't know if you've seen his coffee etched Damascus blades that he's been putting out. He was on our live a few weeks ago, and he tried it and showed us everything, pulled it from the etch on camera with us. It came out gorgeous. I mean, this dude's got some really sick stuff going on. He's a nice, badass maker.
He forges it. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
I wonder what materials he's using for for the steels in the Damascus.
So, Clayton, what are some of the steels that you're using in your Damascus, bro? Drop that in chat for me. I'll highlight it for Jerad. So, but yeah, he's got some really nice stuff. Him and his sister kind of run the program. His sister makes the sheaths and stuff like that. She does the kydex work, the leather work and stuff like that. He does the steel work and the handles. So really, really cool. And he does some gorgeous stuff, man. So, and on top of that, what a crazy energy this guy brings. He is
awesome. I love to hear that.
He's really, really fun. So love
somebody says I met him and saw him on Neeve. People he met at the knife show. Okay, so maybe I did meet him. I can't remember. Okay. I actually think I might remember now. Maybe. That's awesome. That sounds like a good mix. 15 and 20, and then 80 CRV2. So 80 CRV2. That's for me personally. Lower on the steels of what I personally would want in a pocket knife, just because it's more for combat. But for a beautiful Damascus and stuff like that, because when you're talking about starting Damascus, you are going for the beauty, but you need to make sure the steel, right, and you got to make sure the steels work together. Right, that's the biggest thing. If they don't work together,
he's all fixed blades, Jerad. He doesn't do folders. He's just all fixed blades as well. So
I do have two for people that are wondering, because I know people keep asking me about budget knives. I have two budget knives in the works right now. One being the one you guys have seen so far, and then I have another one coming with Civivi, and it does have some not premium, but like aluminum handles, titanium hardware clips, stuff like this. So it's going to have some premium parts, and it's really badass. So it's fucking dope. I did a buckshot finish on it where it looks like it was shot by buckshot. It looks really cool. I think it's going to be dope. And I'm pushing them to do something they didn't do before. Well, they've never done before. So we'll see how they do on that. I was going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the whole Bark River thing with what do you think? You think he's just going to retire and he's just done now?
Yeah.
I think he's.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I think he's done what he said he was done, and he was turning it over to his son and daughter-in-law. But I can't imagine that. My personal feeling is that you ruin the integrity of the brand and anybody that worked there. I can't imagine that it'll be a success moving forward. And
let me ask
your guys' take was.
Well, I want to ask you guys something. You guys might know a little bit more about this, and same thing with the chat than I do. Somebody like him, if he didn't have the money to pay for the steels prior, how is he going? Like, do you think whatever he put into Social Security and retirement is going to be enough to survive forever at the age he's at? Like, how else? Right. I mean, I don't know. I'm somebody who fucking did gangster shit for 30 years. So, I didn't obviously pay into that shit forever. So like, I don't know enough about it. Like a lot of you guys might, like as far as retirements and 401ks and Social Security and all that bullshit. I don't know much about any of that. So I don't know. I know he's been doing it for long enough. So I have to imagine he's invested some in, he's going to get some. I don't know what his lifestyle's like to know what he's going to have to keep up with. But I can't imagine that's enough. How old do you guys even know how old he is? I don't know.
I don't know. Mid-60s is my guess.
Yeah, I was going to say he's in his 60s. He might, and I don't know, right? It all depends on how his lifestyle is. To your point, Jared. I mean, if the dude's driving a Porsche versus he's driving a Chevy, he might not have the money to do that. Maybe he does. Maybe he's got sound investments in other places. So, but at the same time, Bark River's fiasco, and for those of you who haven't seen it, has actually opened up a shit show out there, because now that dude opened up that thing with Tuya knives. So he's saying that Dave Warren's heat treats are like it wasn't Bowler M390, so the heat treat numbers are coming down like really low. And
FYI, it's not Dave Warren, though. Dave Warren.
No. But Dave's actually taking it on the chin, because he's the American.
Yeah.
Right. He's the American salesperson for Tuya. Right. Mm-hmm. So he's taking it on the chin, and he's disputing this, and he's putting it out there and saying, no, that is, that's not the case. We did our due diligence. This is the information. But, now they went back and forth again today. It's stirred up enough where, and I won't say who it is, but I know somebody who had a collaboration going with Tuya. They called Tuya and told them, pump the brakes. We're putting this on pause until you can clear Tuya's name. We're not going to move forward with this until we know what the story is, because if Tuya is in trouble, I'll never sell a knife.
Yep.
It's just, I don't think we're going to see the end of this. I think out of the woodworks is going to be a lot of testing and a lot of nitpicking and bullshit that's going to come out of this. And you're going to start to see people that are going to come in and start attacking makers for being off on their HRC, or not having legitimate something or another, or finding out that they sourced the material elsewhere than where they say they were, or whatever it might be. And, and then on top of that is even more dirty laundry, right? I mean, this Bark River thing, there are people coming out saying, sexual harassment problems in the workplace and all that kind of crap.
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of crazy
I didn't
crap.
even hear that.
Yeah. The marketing and media manager came out and said that there was there was sexual assault charges that were brought up for people in the company. I mean,
On the
this
Sun,
dude,
yeah.
it's an
From the
absolute
Sun?
disaster. Yeah.
Yeah, and his wife worked there, so yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine it's going to recover.
There's no way.
They're probably going into a different industry.
Them trying to recover would bring up more, especially if he's got some allegations like that. That is not good for him. And then I take back everything I said about going after him. But that's going to be the toughest is the Sun. Him trying to restart somewhere. He's probably going to have to, buddy up next to somebody and utilize their name. And something like that. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know what their shop looks like, if they've had to get rid of tools and stuff like that, because a lot of times when shit starts going downhill, you have to start liquefying shit. So that's probably the case. I don't know though, because I don't know what type of tools, everything they have. And I seen somebody said, and it's funny as shit, I laughed. He said my 401k is ramen noodles or some shit.
I saw that in passing. Yeah. That was Robert.
That's
my 401k and Keef coffee. Nice.
Yeah. Somebody says it will definitely separate the piece of shit coattail riders from the honest, hardworking. Well, I do want to say I don't think it's a negative thing. When we first got into the community, there was a lot of this, like a shit ton. And Love Them Knives, he had a couple guys. There was a few other guys doing HRC tests. And then, Love Them Knives had somebody testing the actual steels. Now we have Taylor. I've been talking to him a lot. Somebody was asking earlier about that. I seen that they were asking what I think about him. Me and him have been talking quite a bit. And he does have the even better machines to test steels and test their compositions and make sure they are the steels that they are. The place he's at, the laboratory he's at, is like a $20 million laboratory. He's not no bullshit. Like, he's not just some guy in a fucking garage. This is what they do.
No, I saw his machines. His machines are legit.
I came to him and I told him, though, I said, listen, you gotta understand what comes with this. Because I wanted him to know, I don't want anybody getting in deeper. Like with me, right? When I make a video and I make it about a company, sometimes I'm making it about $100 million company. I have to understand what comes with that. If you don't think that they can't come after your family and ridicule you from every which way, you got another thing coming, because they can. They can absolutely destroy you in court. They can absolutely sue the dog shit out of you just because, even though they're not going to win, they're just going to do it to rape the shit out of you. Sorry for using that word on here. Probably going to get demonetized.
Good news, man. We're not monetized, so we're okay.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Well, just scream it loud then. But I told him, I said, listen, I just want to make sure, because I didn't know at the time, but I told him, I said, listen, they're going to come after you and criticize your work, what you're using, your tools, how old you are, how long you've been doing it, whether or not you're doing it properly. And he said, I don't care. He's like, this is what this company, and he basically reassured me what their company does, that how confident they are, how he doesn't care about that type of stuff, which I have to give him a lot of credit, because that's bold and that's awesome. Because again, like I said, when you're talking about $100 million company, you're talking about guys that have an insane amount of lawyers and an insane amount of people that could do research on you and find out who your family is, where they're at, who's done what. If you have a family member that's done something bad, they can try to, put that against you somehow. Like, there's so many things they can do. And, so shout out to him for being willing to be put under the limelight and being willing to, he said, the company's legit. Everything's legit. They do everything, correct. Like I said, it's like $20 million laboratory. So this is what they do. So he's perfectly fine with any scrutiny, and he knows what's going to come with it. But we probably should open it back up and start doing it again, because I think it's only so long the companies can sit comfortable, right, before they start saying, okay, well, nobody's out here testing no more. Nobody's doing this, right? Let's push the limits. And that's going to happen in any field. But if we're out here doing, that's why I said that statement in the video about it being on us to some degree, you know, as knife reviewers and content creators, that, you know, we knew there was something wrong with Bark River. I've known it since I joined the community. I've known it. I know every single one of you motherfuckers knew it too. We all knew it, right? So it should have been on the top of my list of companies to check into, to test where the, you know what I mean? Just to do it, to, you know, to either bury the hatchet or to not, or to unbury it. But,
Jerad,
you know, when you start doing that, you're going to expose some companies and you're going to piss some off. So
can you feel typically, like, how long does it take you to feel on a stone if somebody's lying about their steel? Like, are you that comfortable where you can go, hey, I know what this is supposed to feel like, and this is off?
yeah, the only thing is I have to do it after like 3 sharpenings, because so the first sharpening can always be a burnt steel, and there always is a burnt heat treatment. Like, just the heat treatment is just dog shit. I've ran into that a bunch of times where the steel's accurate, but it's just soft as shit, or it's just a problem with the heat treatment. Usually you can figure that out, because if you get an HRC tested, everywhere you test will be a different HRC, you know? So, but yeah, you can absolutely tell. Just like when you're sharpening, you can tell when you get into good steel. You can feel it, you can hear it. It changes. Everything changes. Like I've had it where I'm literally sharpening and I can tell it's a burnt steel, and then all of a sudden you'll hear it, and it sounds like glass scraping across the stone, and you're like, oh, there it is. You know, we got into good steel. And then from there, that's when I'll start testing. That's when I'll start figuring it out. But yeah, man, there's been a lot, man. Like, there's one company I want to say right now. I know they just recently bought all new equipment, and they had to have spent millions of dollars on this equipment. I've never seen equipment like this in my life, but it's Montana Knife Company. They recently got a heat treating oven that not only heat treats the knives, but instantly pours in what's it called? What's not nitrogen? What? It might be nitrogen, or what? Yeah, the ice cold stuff. Nitrogen. Yeah. So it instantly pours in nitrogen inside the same container it's heat treated in. So imagine how fast you can freeze it, because that's what it's about on getting the, you know, the good HRCs are, how fast you can get it cold. So that sounds crazy to me.
Did you see their leak? Did you see the video on their leak? So their nitrogen system, when they put it in, they left the building. The next day they came, and there was a ring of fog around the building when they pulled up to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the nitrogen system had leaked, and it looked like something out of a horror movie. It was wild looking.
What? No, I didn't hear it.
Up on their Instagram page. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. They got it fixed, right? I mean, they got it fixed, but they had to wait for it to clear out. Like, they couldn't just go into the building. Like,
well, that was a lot of money lost, probably.
Yeah, that was pretty badass, crazy. But
man, there's stuff though, man. There's
before
stuff.
they even opened. It was before they opened. So I would imagine that whoever installed it probably had to back that, because it wasn't, you know, they didn't. I'm sure
they didn't steal everything.
Yeah, I don't think that probably came out of their pocket for that one. They probably said, you screwed up.
Oh, the company set it up.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because I've got to imagine if I did damages.
Crazy.
That's very crazy. But you know what? With that, I don't know everything about that, like if they're doing all their stuff with it or whatnot and so forth. But I'll say I testing their stuff, it was not good, man. Like, it was so, like, removing the burr on that stuff was a nightmare. And I removed so much material that it was way beyond any type of burnt steel. It was heat treatment. And like, just getting the burr off was a nightmare. Now, if you go back in their history, they erased it. But at one time, the sharpener who was there made a video. I don't know why they publicly posted this, because this is the craziest thing to ever say. They said that they were leaving a burr on the edge to make a toothier edge or something, which anybody who understands sharpening, that is the stupidest statement you could ever say. That doesn't make sense. You would never do that for no reason ever, right? And so to say that means if the guy who's sharpening doesn't even understand sharpening. Well, I came to the conclusion then he's probably saying that because it's difficult to remove. And then when I tried to remove it, I realized like, this is why they're saying that, because they can't get the son of a bitch off. So they're trying to say like, oh, we do that on purpose. Well, he wound up deleting that video and stuff. So, but not before it was recorded though. So there is recordings of it that I can easily get. Shout out to Erica. But yeah, man, when you start doing stuff like that, that's when I start looking a little closer, because it's like you were willing to lie and fool people to like, don't get me wrong. I think their marketing's great. I love what they stand for. I think they do have something to be proud of, but what they should do from here standing, right, is get rid of that type of mindset and get into the mindset of doing high quality steels and stuff like that. Follow Spyderco's lead, you know, on steels, heat treatment. Try to do the best you can. And if you fuck up, just admit it, man. Just say it. Just say, hey, man, we fucked up. This shit's garbage. You know, we're going to do better. Something, man. But don't try to gaslight people and or lie saying fucking, oh yeah, we meant to do that. We just like Benchmade did that shit with the HRC test back in the day when we started doing the HRC test. They tried to say when their what was it, their 3V, it was supposed to be I think 58 to 60, and they wound up being like 57 or 56.5 or something like that, and it was super soft. And they were like, oh, we did that on purpose so people weren't snapping blades. It's like, you lying motherfuckers, you're lying. Like, that's a lie. You did not do that on purpose for that reason. It doesn't, and nothing they said made sense. It didn't make sense. Like, it's not whether or not, like, oh, that makes sense, so that's why. No, it does. There's no possibility that happened, because you wouldn't do that.
You would market it that way as a feature. Our knives are tough and they won't snap on you. Not.
But the thing is that's the problem though. It won't also hold an edge, and instead of it snapping, it bends, which is the worst thing. You want a blade to snap before it'll bend like Play-Doh and bend back. Like if you want a super tough knife, yeah, you might want it to bend, right? But you don't want to be able to pry it back and it not have fractures, because then it's just soft, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a thinner blade, then you regardless, you want the higher HRC for toughness and for edge retention, because there is a balance there. But when you get too soft, now you have no edge holding abilities, and your toughness isn't good, because it's just going to bend. Like, it can't be tough if it just warps. Yeah. So, and that's what happened, by the way, in the testing. The knife bent, and it didn't go back to true, and it literally like bent, like, which is crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Rob says soft steel sucks. Rob, I think we should make shirts that say that, right? We should all wander around with soft steel sucks shirts and like hashtag that and everything. I think that's a great idea. Hard. We should start a new trend through the knife community. Hashtag soft steel sucks.
There you go. So, yeah, sooner they get in front of it, sooner they can resolve it. That's so true.
Yeah.
You got to help them get there.
It just rubs off on diamond.
What did you say? It's not like something dirty.
Just rubs off on a diamond.
No, not that rub off, man.
Like,
oh, geez.
So 3V pigments were soft as hell for that. Yes, they were.
Speaking of prototypes, interesting tidbit on something. So while I was at Blade Show, and since I worked the Concept booth, I picked up the new Contra from Concept. So Nathan Contra's new knife that's coming out. Really cool design, and he's got some changes that he's making. So they delayed it about a month on production, but really cool knife if you guys haven't checked it out yet. So really funky knife here, and great action on this thing. I'll blow it up. Hang on a second here. There we go.
Oh yeah, it's sweet. I love that harpoon, man.
Yeah, it's nice. It's real nice, and he's gonna do some more jimping on this thing, sharpen up the jimping, so that the front flipper works a little bit better, because it doesn't go over. You're missing one jimp at the end, and you slip off a lot. It's pretty. Yeah, you really got to wrist out this thing. You can't get a good front flip off of it. You probably
looks like a hell of a user though.
I don't know how the hell you front flip certain things, but you do. So
I tell you what, other than that, what you're saying, man, the actual look of it looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. The thumb stud action on it's great. The ergos are very neutral and very comfortable. They've chamfered it really nicely. Good size on the thing. S90V on the thing, so good blade steel. Concept super thin behind the edge. This thing gets absolutely nasty slicey.
That's what they're doing lately. Concept has been killing it with that. And oh yeah, by the way, Burning Table Forge said, which he's absolutely right. He said to pass the Master Smith course, you have to basically be able to bend a blade 90 degrees without it bending or breaking, which is exactly like the opposite of what we just said. Like where the knife didn't even bend that far and it bent and it just didn't go back. He's saying you want to be able to bend it and it go back to true. That would mean that it's got a good stable heat treatment where it's not too soft and it's not too brittle.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. Yeah. That's
now, obviously if it's 90 thousandths thick blade stock, you're going to want it to snap in that end because you're going to want a higher HRC for higher edge retention because there's no reason to have toughness with something like that. Like you do have to look at what it's for, but for anything, I don't care what it is, anything shouldn't, like knife related, shouldn't just bend like butter, or like a butter knife.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What else did I see at Blade Show that I thought was really interesting? Oldenov. Did you check out Oldenovs while you were there, Jerad?
Remind me, I can't remember.
They were right next to CKF. Russian company. The one guy, his name is Dennis. I don't know. They're Russian small custom knife company.
I think I did. I think they were they were very plain handles, right? Like with black inlays or whatever.
Some of
them,
am I
right?
Some of them were, some of them were even. Rob actually wound up with one. They were like, I think they started at like $700. The ones that I was digging on were like $850. But absolutely stunning. And he said he's going to Atlanta. I said I'm thinking about putting it on the list of to gets. I mean, it's like that one where you're like you left without it, now you regret you did, type of thing. Super, super cool knife. So
yeah, I think I got a video on them. I think they were really nice. But man, the Russians, they do got some hell of knife makers, man. They do some good work over there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yes, R2, that was it. Damas steel blade, 840 blade show price, base model. So that was Damas steel. I didn't even realize it was Damas steel, Rob. I didn't pay attention, I guess. So that sucks for me. But yeah, his knife is absolutely stunning, absolutely gorgeous, and that was exactly the one. He pretty much bought the one I wanted. So, Rob's tastes are good. So really cool though. And then what else? MBK, the mini honey badger, the little honey badger that they came out with, new Ray Laconico design. This thing is absolutely butter. Absolutely.
That thing looks cool.
Yeah, man. I'll let me blow the screen up.
That's pretty awesome.
So yeah, it's very it's not quite Wolverine Sabretooth like the other ones, but action on this thing is absolute butter. Front flipper, outstanding. Really good thumb stud action. Liner
love
lock.
That blade shape, man.
Is it S90? Yeah, it's S90V. And I mean, MBK puts out a great product at like $150, right? $150, and they're just nice. I really like what they're putting out. So
is that a flat grind?
Yes, it is a flat grind. It is a flat grind. I do wish it was hollow, to be honest with you. I think this might be a candidate to go to Brian Kim and see whether or not he wants to make this a hollow and make it nasty. Just saying. Wicked Dreams, the party at Atlanta Blade Show. It's called The Pit, and it's literally like across the street. So it's right by the show. It's like you can get to it in like with like a 2-minute walk. You'll know everybody will be going there, so there'll be no way for you not to find or run into somebody that's not going to tell you to follow me or whatever.
It'll be at
Yeah.
night though. Typically everybody goes home after the show, takes a shower, takes a break, gets a rest, and then usually comes back there around like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Because it goes till 2, 3 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ray said, dude, you going to Atlanta this year? I said, yeah. He says, you're gonna hang at the trap house. I want to try and convince Jerad separate each room into a recording room. And I'm like, you're always thinking like this, dude. He's like, could you imagine like Jerad doing a sharpening video and anybody can walk in? So all of a sudden, like, Bees Blades walks in on Jerad. And, I'm like, well, I mean, you got a really cool concept there. Don't get me wrong. Make like this wild recording house. But, I think maybe other than the Blade Show, you guys should come up with an idea to do that outside of Blade Show, because chances are you're going to be way too damn exhausted to do that.
I thought about 1 year. I mean, I obviously didn't do it this year, but I thought about either trying to get a company to sponsor it or just getting a booth and doing like a sharpening session or something like that. Maybe 1 or 2 days, or maybe each day do something different, something like that. Or maybe even, bring my stones, sell my stones, and let people test them out and shit like that. I know some companies have done that in the past. And like I said, I can do like a seminar or something helping people, right there. But we always typically do the trap house thing where certain people, not everybody, but certain people are invited over to the house that the Airbnb we rent. We have the same people there every year that are staying, that are getting the house with us. Bama Knife Guy, Lee, Steve Clary, Stasa 23, and Kara and me. And but anyway, so basically we all just hang out, show off the knives we brought. We typically bring knives from home and stuff we got from the shows and stuff like that, and do a live sometimes. Sometimes we record, but it usually gets pretty crazy, and it's a good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I told Chris, I said, not this year, because obviously we're all booked and ready to go on this. I think next year we might do like an Airbnb or something like that, because we know a bunch of people that are going down that are all like, hey, where are you staying and stuff like that.
That's the way to do it.
It's probably logical to do it that way at this point. We've built up enough of a network where it makes sense. So, I think it'd be fun.
Better to stay with people. It's cheaper too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. How far is your B&B usually from the show? Is it pretty close?
Yeah, the farthest it's ever been was 20 minutes. But this one we got just now, I think, is 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, nice. Wicked dreams, dude. Trust me. Wear your shirt. I assure you that you will be identified. There is no question, right? I mean, this last time in Texas, I had complete strangers just come up to me and start talking to me like, hey Sam, how's it going? I don't know who you are. And they'd be like, oh, and they'd have to identify themselves by a screen name or something like that. And then it's like, okay. So I mean, you will definitely have people say hello. I always wear
a badge on too. You have a badge on, so you can have the if you have a badge on, it'll say your name and stuff, so people
I mean, so do I
put your sticker on there or something like that? Like companies all run around and they have the company's name and then their name. But like if you right, exactly. It's good to wear that, because then people don't have to feel weird if they forget your name, or if because they might know you, right? But I think they've already talked to so many people, their brains all over the place. So it's nice just to have that. Like there's sometimes I'll see somebody and I know who they are, but I can't remember for the life of me what company they're with. Right. So it's cool if I see it and I'm like, oh, thank God. Because they'll be like, hey, come check out the booth. And it's like, I don't know what booth you're at, and I don't want to say nothing because I've talked to them so many times. Like they're like friends with me, but there's just so many companies. And sometimes one guy will work for one company 1 year and then another one the next year and then another one the next year. So, you don't want to think,
And it's one of those things too. I feel like I know you because I've watched 100 hours of you talking. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's a completely different scenario.
Right.
Yeah. One of the guys in the pass around group said that they wanted to talk to Blade Show about creating a content creator table, essentially, where
we we've been trying to talk to them about doing a room, actually, a booth, or like not a booth, but like a room. So we talked to them at Texas. Melissa is going to talk to them because she used to work with them. But the plan was if we can get a room, that'll give us a place to put our stuff, a place to take a break if we need to. But more importantly, if we want to do a video with somebody and do like, because you can do a video with anybody, but you don't want to block somebody's shit, with your little, hiatus. And then it's like, hey, motherfucker, you're blocking my table here, right? So, it's nice if you can have a spot to film with other content creators or whatever, We Knife Co, possibly. We were talking to Seth, and he said they might be willing to possibly, pay for something like that, as long as we obviously in the video shout them out as the sponsor and blah, blah, blah. But that's cool. A great idea though.
Yeah. And they were talking about, scheduling. So if they got like a booth or something, they were talking about scheduling time at a booth. So like, we would get an hour or something or 45 minutes at a booth. And then the next, creators would go over there and stay at that booth. So if you want to meet, whoever, Stasa 23, let's say, okay, he's there from 1 to 1:30 or 1 or 2 to 2:30 or something like that. So when to get the people that you have interest in meeting or having a conversation with or getting pictures with or whatever. Because, let's face it, how many friggin' pictures did you take with people? Because I can tell you, I am 1/300th of size of your channel, and I can tell you how many I took.
I'll tell you what, though, it's my favorite part. My favorite part is literally fucking meeting everybody, hanging out, taking pictures, signing the stuff. That is literally my favorite part. Everybody who says to me, and it makes me feel bad every time, but I understand it now because it happened to me recently, and I'll explain. But when people say that they were standing there waiting for me, but I was doing something, so they didn't want to interrupt. And to me, all the filming there is secondary, if not third, to the people, right? I don't care if you interrupt. If I'm like right at the end of my thing, I might say, just give me 1 second, just because I want to sit there and talk. I want to take a picture. I want to, chat and stuff. That's why I'm there. And that's the most important thing to me, way more important than any of the fucking filming. But I recently went to a music thing, and I was going there to film. I was going to give Adam Calhoun and some other guys, they're musicians, some knives. And when I was there, I had to wait for another man. I had to sit there and wait, right? And everybody else is talking to them and trying to talk to them. And I already have a plan that I'm doing with this guy, but he keeps getting cut off. So I keep on having to wait. And I felt that feeling of waiting, standing there waiting for another man, and how weird it felt. So I understand from other people's perspective, like, hey, I was standing there for 5 minutes. I didn't want to bother you. So I just left. I get it. But with me, like, I promise you, man, just jump in, bother me, tell me something, we can, if anything, tell me, hey man, when you're done, I'll be over here. Can you come talk to me? I'll do it. Just let me know,
Yeah.
Because that's more important than anything.
And I give you a ton of credit, man, because all things considered, you are extremely accessible for the size channel that you have and stuff, because and this is no knock. I love Cole to death, but Cole is a hell of a lot, is not even 10% of what your channel is size wise. And I can't get a hold of him worth of beans anymore. He used to talk to me a lot. And then now he just doesn't even respond to DMs anymore. So I'm like, all right, man, too cool for school, I guess. I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in his private life. There's always going to be moments where I don't know exactly what he's doing. But we all get,
like I said, sometimes. I love Cole.
But I know what you mean, though. I've even had some issues with some people. So
yeah, and it's appreciated that you give that time back like that. It's very cool, and I try to do the same thing. And obviously, we're way smaller, but I try to make sure that I answer everybody, I get to everybody's time and stuff like that, because I'm a fan too, right? I get it, I understand, and I want people's times, and I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. So I try to do the best I can with that. So it's awesome of you the way you handle things, man.
Yeah, I still answer every single one of my Instagram messages and all of my emails. Now, I used to, up until 100,000 subscribers, I answered every single comment on YouTube. Every single one of them, up until 100,000, which was incredibly difficult. I'm talking about, like, it started becoming impossible. And then Kara said, Jerad, you can't fucking keep up with these. You just got to stop, like, trying, because I made it like my life's goal to make sure I answered everybody. Because I didn't want to make people feel like they were watching for, or commenting for nothing, but now the comments, you're commenting for other people too, like to have this, to create a discussion and stuff like that. I try to get to a lot of them, but I can't get to all of them. But if you need to get a hold of me, I'm still accessible. You just got to reach out to me on Instagram.
Yeah, you are. I will definitely attest to that. You are most definitely very accessible. And, if you just give them a couple of days to respond, and
usually 24 hours. I need to the morning, because I check all of them in the morning. So the first couple hours in the morning when I wake up is when I go through all my messages.
Yep. I was going to say, I noticed that you are earlier in the day on the responses, and usually unless there's something big going on, blade show, shot show, blah 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 blah, then I realize that that's going to be delayed. I never get impatient with any of that stuff. I completely understand it, but I do think it's really cool that you do it, because channels at your size that still respond individually like that's really cool. And I mean, we heard from Adventure 50 before, talking about how much you've helped him. Unprofessional Dad talked to me about how you helped him with getting some affiliate links figured out and stuff, because he wanted to figure out how to keep funding his channel. And since then, by the way, I think when you talked to him, he was at 3,600 subscribers. He's just about to break 5,000 now. So,
that's awesome.
You have a lot of impact on channels, and I know you know that, but it's good for everybody else to realize how helpful you are in this community. You aren't just reaping the benefits at the top of the food chain type of thing.
For sure. And anybody who's really serious, like that, like if you're really grown and you're really serious and you've put in a lot of work, I'm happy to shout you out on the channel and get you even more subscribers. I want everybody to win. And I don't ever consider that. I know a lot of people do, but I typically don't consider that when deciding whether or not I'm going to talk to somebody or communicate, because you never know who you're talking to, first off, right? And you never know where somebody's going to be in 5 years. So I try to just treat everybody the same. But yeah, man, when I see somebody grinding and really putting an effort, it definitely makes me feel good about, what they're doing, and wanting to help and stuff. So
that's awesome, man.
Hey, Jerad, I want to turn just a little bit. You mentioned about, I thought it was a cool idea about maybe having like a booth and sharpen it and showing your stones. I like to sharpen. I mostly do it using a fixed angle. Is there any thoughts about doing your stones and on a 1x6 or a 1x4?
Yeah, we have 1x6s.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, we have 1x6s and 3x8s. We don't have 1x4s. I do think that that's going to become obsolete in the future, so I don't plan on doing them. I'm trying to lean everybody towards just getting because now the 1x6, like even like KME is doing 1x6 now, so there's really no 1x4 unless if you had the precision adjust from Worksharp, then you can get the aftermarket stone holder, which will be a 1x4. But if you have the professional, that's a 1x6.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've got a KME that's a 1x4 still, but it might be time to upgrade. I was looking at them, and I would love to freehand it, but I still use the fixed blade system. It's like training wheels. I'm not going to screw up my knife blade.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, and I think it doesn't really matter if you want to use fixed angled or freehand, as long as you know how to sharpen and can sharpen your knives. That's what's important. It's not like I think if you're going to do freehand and you don't want to worry about ruining anything, there is I can't think of what they're called, but it's a clamp thing that goes on the blade, and it's got an angle guide built into it. So all you got to do is just do the motions, and it'll hold the angle for you. And I don't mean that's an entire system. It's literally just a thing. It clamps onto your blade, and then it's got a rod on this side and a rod on this side and then it just slides against the table, you know, while the edge goes against the stone. It works really well too, actually.
I probably would take a couple knives that I don't care about and just
that's what you should really do. Don't use cheap shit. Just don't use anything super cheap. Civivi Sen cuts are great, but don't use like a gas station or like a kitchen knife that's like a dollar store one, because their heat treatments are so soft that it might not be you that's the issue. That's all I'm saying. You might run into it's the knife the issue.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Civivi and Sen cut and stuff like that, because I had seen when I was, I don't want to say just getting into sharpening, but when I really wanted to learn how to get better at sharpening, where it wasn't just I can get a toothy edge or I can, you know, strop back an edge to something, but get much better at it. I had watched one of your videos, and that was exactly what you had mentioned was, you know, you don't want to try it on an $800 knife. Gotcha. No problem. Completely understand. Go get yourself a Sen cutter or Civivi that's a budget brand knife that you know they make good steel, that you know that they're making their heat treats right. And then, you know, practice on that, because if you screw up a $40 knife, okay, it's not the end of the world, right? You're not going to cry over that. You're going to just be like, damn, I screwed up a $40 knife and that's it. So I learned on those types of things myself before I moved on to touch some of the more expensive blades that I have here, because God knows I was nervous as hell. I remember sending you a message saying, I'm not sure if I bought a Blaurock, I'm not sure how I would ever sharpen this thing, because I'd never sharpened something with step milling. And you were like, just sharpen it like anything else, man. It's like,
well, also like when you're learning too, like the most important thing is going to be, well, two things, but the geometry. A lot of people try starting on like a Spyderco or a Benchmade, and it's like those are like 30 thousandths behind the edge, or 20. Like you want to start thin, very, very thin, because then it'll sharpen up quicker. Then you can see what's going on faster, and you're going to get a burr quicker. Everything goes faster and smoother, and it's much, like literally 5 times easier. So a Sen cut or a Civivi that has a nice deep hollow grind, like you're talking about a tenth of the effort that you're going to have to put in. So that's what you should learn on. And they do a good job with their steel. So you're going to get a good budget steel. You're going to be able to feel what a good quality heat treatment feels like. You're going to be able to feel what a good quality burr feels like to be removed. So you're getting all those things under your belt, rather than shooting yourself in the foot and getting something that's super thick that takes you an hour just to sharpen one side of it if you're good, right? That's if you're good. If you're not good, you're going to be there for like 2 days. And then on top of it, when you develop a burr, it's a nightmare to get off. And then you're thinking like, how the fuck does this thing ever come off, when it's not even you, it's the steel. So that's why it's like, it's so good to just, and they're only like 30 or what, $45, 45 to $65. Yeah, to some people that might be a little bit of an expense, but it's way better than picking something like $5 that's just going to be a damn nightmare and piss you off.
And Blade HQ, I don't know if you've ever done this or not, but if you go on Blade HQ and you type the word discontinued, there is an entire section of discontinued Wies, Civivis, and Sen cuts for a fraction of the cost. Okay, I'm talking like when they were $120, you're getting them for like $40 and $60 because they have 1 or 2 left and they're just blowing out the last of the boxes on inventory. So, you know, helpful tip to anybody here in the chat listening: if you ever want to grab something at a great budget blowout price, type the word discontinued at Blade HQ and see what you can find. You got it. Use my link to get there. There you go. Use Jared's link to get there, because we're not big enough yet to get a Blade HQ link. That's awesome, you guys, man. Don't. So you said you're not monetized yet? No. So funny story. Last year at Blade HQ, we went there and did not have a social media. None. And every person was like, show me your social media. And I was like, I don't have one. And they're like, oh, you need a social media. And then, you know, it was Joyce at Concept that she's actually, yes, she is. She smacked me. She smacked me in the back of the head and she told me I'm bad.
Yep.
And she said, you need to have a social media. And I said,
Yes.
I know, I've been told. And she said, you go home, you do a social media.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Best
I
advice
walked
ever.
in the door, I unpacked, I sat down on the couch, and I started creating social medias for us. And the intent was never to be content creators. The intent was, I need social media to sell our knives.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I create, or how do I get people to talk to us? How do I build a network? Well, I don't know, because I don't have a product yet. So it became like this weird, I'm in between space.
Yeah.
I don't have one of these to show. So, okay, what do? I'm not going to show them a 3D printed knife. Boring. So we started doing reviews, just doing basic show our collections off type of stuff. And
get in the community. Yeah. Just be a part of the community. Be an asset to the community. Talk to people. Chit chat. Yeah, that's the best way to do it before you do anything. If you already have a product, obviously you should already have a social media. But yeah, of course, if you have a product, then it gives you something to talk about. But yeah, grow it, and then it makes it much easier, man, to sell a product, to do everything, because it's literally the future. And you guys need what, 300 more subscribers? I don't know how many hours of watch time, but in order to get monetized, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So I would check your watch time, see where you're at with that. Most likely
we're about 2,000. So
okay.
Funny. First off, you're episode 11 on lives, right? So we haven't been doing lives very long. And the first few months, we were very, very inconsistent with doing reviews and posting. I mean, we weren't every day. We weren't even every other day. It was a couple of posts here and a couple of posts there. And then I would just do like a data dump where I'd do 40 posts in a day, and then I wouldn't post anything for a while. And I just didn't understand social media. And I really, asking people like Lefty, asking people like Ray, asking people like Rob's Nerdy Knives, and just saying, hey man, like, how do I grow? And everyone, Miguel, EDC, and these guys, all of you guys said, consistency is key. And I remember you telling me, stay in the game for a year. If you are here in a year and you don't quit, keep going, because at that point you've outlasted 90% of the other people, right?
Yep.
And so if you look at the big picture, we're coming up to 10 months on social media, 9 months on social media, but really only taking it serious for the last 5. And we got 750 subs right now, which, by the way, if nobody in here is sub on the damn channel, please, por favor. Thank you very much. Love you all. But yeah, I mean, that's 750 in 5 months. I don't know if that's good or bad in certain people's eyes, because I know some people can grow crazy fast, but at the same time, I talk to other people and they're like, that's really good. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not good, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, no, I tell people, like, don't even pay attention to it at first. What you should pay attention to is just the quantity of your videos. Like, literally just go all in on trying that. Don't pay attention to the numbers, because the numbers will come, but you have to be a person that people want to listen to. You have to be a person that people want to watch, and focus on that, just that. And if your numbers don't come quick, that's okay. Who cares? Just keep working. But yeah, I tell everybody that because I was told that I heard that from a massive channel, and they said, if you can make it past the first year, you beat 80%. If you can make it past the second year, you beat 90% of people, everybody who started, because 90% by the second year are not creating more content. So now all your competition, you beat 90% of your competition. So now, after the second year, now you're only dealing with 10% of the competition you were before, that started when you started and everything. So it's not just outlasting people, but it's just like anything, how long can you tread waters, right? And I'm not saying that should be your goal to winning, but you have to be able to tread the waters in order to win, period. So you have to be able to create the content. But yeah, said in that video, focus on your thumbnails, your titles, and ideas. You already have a good voice and a good personality, so you got that in the bag. If you focus on the other stuff, good ideas, more and more stuff will come, more opportunities will come. Money always keeps coming, so you just got to keep creating. But as far as the watch hours, I would create a couple, because you're trying to get watch time up, you can create a little bit longer videos. Like these lives are great for that. But doing 10, 15, 20-minute videos sometimes, but you can't let them be boring. Otherwise your CTR will go way down. You click the ratio and everything, because basically the algorithm will see that you have a 20-minute video and people are watching 30 seconds, right? So there is a balance there, and it might be 8 to 10-minute videos, just in that sweet spot where people are watching the majority of it, or at least a few minutes of it. So then it boosts you up in the algorithm. But you do got to play that game to some extent. But your goal should definitely be to get monetized, get affiliate links, stuff like that. And, if you're going to be serious about it, be serious. If you're going to be a company that designs and makes knives, be serious about it, because I don't trust anybody at this point that fucking says they're not. Like, not saying that I wouldn't be your friend or I wouldn't trust you like that. I just mean, like, as far as a company and a channel goes, right? Like, you don't have any stakes in the game, right? If you could just disappear tomorrow, what stakes do you have in it, right?
No,
like,
you're right. You're right.
Well,
we have.
Why do you have to tell me the truth about anything? You don't. You really don't. So
that's true. Well, we do have some affiliate links. We do have all that kind of stuff. We're working our way through what we can get and stuff like that, and trying to get that kind of stuff built up. We're putting in quite a bit of time. Chris has a very interesting approach to something, and some of our top videos have come from him. And although I do the majority of the videos, he did one called Mechanical Soul, and I still talk about this all the time. And it's really like your inner connection to what draws you and connects you to a knife, right? That feeling, that sound, all that kind of stuff. And it's just, people resonated so well with that. And I was like, Chris,
I can understand.
Yeah, that's it, right? You look at Jared's face, like, Chris, you have to look at those videos, and you should be that half of this. Let me just do the reviews on the knives themselves, and you should do the deep thinking stuff, because I think that's the way you are. You're a deep thinker person.
You got to go with your personality, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. But at the same time, in the beginning, Jared, we spent so much time overthinking.
I did too.
We were trying to be perfect.
Yep.
We were trying to correct everything in our videos. We were trying to correct, and not only that, but one recording from beginning to end, error free. If you're doing a 15-minute video, no flipping chance, right?
Nope.
So
not happening.
Yeah.
That's about an hour and a half.
And then you spent I don't know, a few hours going back and forth with me yesterday on the thumbnail thing. And I learned a crap ton from you just listening and you posting that thing. So we're going to do a review on our prototype, and I made a thumbnail today, and I applied those characteristics that you gave me yesterday to that thumbnail, and you will see that video pop in the next day or two.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome, man. Like, this is totally different. So very cool, man.
Like what you were saying about all the details, you wind up finding, like, in the beginning, that's what you are. It's like you don't want to leave anything out. You're too informed. You have way too much information. But then you wind up learning the beauty in leaving stuff out, and leaving a lot out, and allowing it to go to another video, allowing the speed, because not everybody's going to care about all the little details like you might. And also, the thing is the guy who does care about all those details is still going to watch because he cares about the details you did say. So it's good to find that good balance of where you can make it a good pace, where you can get from beginning to end without people clicking off or canceling, or like you want them to watch as much through as possible. But the most important part is your personality, man. You have to care about what you're saying and what you're doing. If you have no enthusiasm, no care in the world, like if you're literally doing something that you fucking hate, just don't, because you'll trust me. Everybody sees it. You can taste it through the damn video. Like there's some guys I've watched and I've listened to, and I'm like, I have to click off, dude. I'm getting suicidal listening to this motherfucker. Like, he is so dead and boring. Like, oh, fuck, I'm getting fucking depressed over here. Like, and so, you got But one thing I will say, and shout out to Birdshot. I'm not talking shit, but one of the things that hurt them because they got stuck in a rut. Our channel blew up and their channel hit 50,000 and just stopped. And I mean like a fucking dead stop. I didn't see them grow another subscriber for like 4 years. I don't even know. But they got into a position where they didn't pivot, right? Like there's times where the algorithm changes, people change, right? What we're interested in, what we like right now, what's really big on YouTube is realism. Real people, real conversations, real thoughts. Not like, think about like the media and stuff like that. All that shit, it's so rehearsed. It just sucks. You fucking hate it. You want to hear somebody's real thoughts, and you want to know that it's actually genuine. You want to hear real arguments, real debates, real everything. That's what's huge right now. But with YouTube, everything always pivots a little bit, right? And the way you do something, sometimes, like you can get away with something for so long, but then eventually you got to pivot a little bit because this ain't popular no more. People skip this shit. And that's what they didn't do. They stayed in the same place and never changed a bit. Sometimes that works, but if it stops working, you have to pivot. Like you can't stay in the same, it's kind of like, like trying to stay, in the 90s or whatever, right? Like it's not going to work for you. People are just done with that generation, right? Like now they're on to the next thing. Like you wind up, people get stuck in certain things. So I think it's always good to always be willing to pivot and not stay on something too long, because if you stick on something too long, you wind up, people get past you, and then now the same subscribers you have are not even watching.
Yeah. So I've said it before, you construct the most pro stuff, dynamics, editing, mic work, camera work, and you experiment. Yeah, man. So Dog One, I agree. And I mean, Chris and I are still learning, and I'm doing a lot of like overhead down to the hands type of stuff like that. But I'm been exploring a lot of channels lately and trying to see what some of the other things and some of the ideas that maybe I can roll into it. Jerad, I like a lot, and I'll probably reach out to you privately on this one to ask you some questions on it. But, a lot of times you have your camera this way, you're in like it's on you, you can see your face and everything. And you'll be like, bang, Neeve's knives, and, talk like this, and you can see everything very clearly. Is it your camera that you have that enables you to do that? Or is it, is Kara the one that's recording that for you when you're doing it?
I'm using my phone. First off, I'm using my phone. Okay. But two things. One, anytime you open something, if you put your hand behind it, it'll focus it, right? That's one thing. But what I do is, I can see what's going on, but anything that doesn't work, I don't care, because I cover it with B-roll. So if I'm telling you about the spine of this knife right now and it just won't fucking focus, I don't care if it does or not, because I can see it's not focusing, and I don't stop. I don't sit there and be like, oh, hang on a second, let me get in. I don't do that, because B-roll will be over. I'll film it after I'm done. I know what didn't work. While I'm watching it, I can see, okay, that didn't come in that clear. I'll go film it again by itself where it's crystal clear, and I'll cover the video up. But when you're in front like this, colors matter, right? Gray backgrounds, like whether it's your tabletop, are probably the best. So the camera can pick up things when gray is behind the thing. Like right now, it picks up my face, my body, everything really good. Gray is behind me. If my tabletop is light gray, well then and doesn't matter if it's a gray thing on top of it, it can see it clearly. When you have certain color backgrounds, the camera is like fucking trying to focus on what it needs to. For some reason, light gray works with most cameras. So just knowing those little things is what'll get you really good work.
Gotcha. So I noticed, like in Texas, you were recording on, I think you got a DJI, right? Is that
A
what that
Pocket 3?
was?
Yeah. I use both. I got the Pocket 3. It's actually right here. So yeah, it's a DJI Pocket 3.
Right.
I use that so you can flip it on right there. And then it also, I'm thinking about getting another thing too. I'm not sure if it'll be DJI, it might be GoPro or something. But I also use my phone. And I have cameras and stuff. I just, right now, man, I've been doing so much on my phone, like my editing and everything, that I just haven't been using my regular camera. That stuff, if I record on that, I literally can transport it to my phone like that and edit it right on my phone. So I can be on the move editing at the same time. So
gotcha. Is there, do you have like a reason why you use your DJI versus your phone in certain situations, or is it just whatever's closest that makes it easiest for you in the moment, or how does that work for you?
the DJI is good for vlogging or like shows, things like that. Yes, I can film, and I have done it where I need 2 different angles. So I'll use the DJI and my phone. And I can also do a tabletop if I want with it, but the phone's better for that. It has a bigger screen. I can see it better. Technically, the camera on my phone, being, the type of camera it is, it's a very good camera. So it's even better than that. But if you're on the move, if you're moving, because that has a head on it that's like this. If I need 2 cameramen, it works really good. But that's why I was thinking about getting maybe a 360, where it's literally a camera that can see 360 degrees. So it can actually see my face and see the thing I'm looking at the same time. But more importantly, if I'm running, jumping, if I'm doing something exciting or anything like that, it doesn't get all fucked up. It can actually follow it and track it. And it works just as good as this, just better. You can go underwater with them and shit like that. But it's good to just have them, as time goes on, you're going to have all different types of stuff. Man, you think you should get as sophisticated as possible. What you want to get as simple as possible. You want to get the best technology you can get for as simple as possible. And I've done this wrong so many times where I've tried to go as sophisticated as I can and put in months of work trying to learn it and figure it out and do this and do that and editing. And then I wind up going back to the thing I was doing before. Yeah. So you got to figure out a way to make it smooth for you. And this is what's smooth for me. I can record on my phone, record on that. I can literally change everything from over there over to here and edit it fast. I can be in an Uber editing. I can be on a plane editing. I can sit right here in the chair and edit. I might go back to the computer one day because you are faster on a computer, 100%. But if you have your basics down, because I guess here's the most important part. You film to edit. So meaning like when I'm filming, I'm editing in my head. So I always know what's happening, what I'm going to do. And that takes a little time to learn that. But once you do, everything goes smoother. Like my stuff's already done. Like even when I go to a show, I've been to so many shows now, I know how to record a show so that when I come back and I'm editing it, it makes it easy as hell or as easy as possible. So if you're filming for your editing, man, you can edit a lot faster and a lot smoother.
Rob wants to know what live stream software you use. OBS? Do you use StreamYard? Do you just go straight off of YouTube? Well, you do more than YouTube when you live stream. So what live stream software do you use?
Well, right now I'm actually just going right onto YouTube, but I was using StreamYard. That's what I used for years. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think so. Right now we're using the StreamYard, obviously, but I think I'm gonna upgrade to the full version. And the reason why is, right now we're limited to 720. And
oh yeah, I paid for mine.
yeah, I think I'd love to do that. I'd love to talk if there's another channel that's smaller that like, you know, I know Lefty and several other people, Bees, Lefty, Casey, they all split a StreamYard.
Yeah. I loaned mine out to a bunch of people before.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, I gotta do something with that because I'd like to get better quality with that, and then change the camera system here that I have. I mean, obviously, I'm running off of a computer right now because it's just easier for me to run off of it. It's easier for me
for
to
sure. Yeah, for sure. With lives and stuff, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
no,
awesome,
that's what you kind of want to do. You if once you've done it a little bit, you have your things for certain things. Like your lives are kind of a completely different setup than your recording setup, you know, and that's what you kind of are trying to get to the point of, so that I don't have to tear everything down to go over here and do this. So it's just like, this is for this is for this. You know, I have my stuff for moving around, vlogging, you know, like, I mean, dude, I used to carry camera equipment and everything, and I still do, but it limited, right? Like now my camera equipment is in this, you know, and then I just need my microphones and stuff like that. Dude, I used to carry fucking all kinds of shit, and it's a nightmare, man. It's a nightmare. Like everything you do, you're trucking so many pounds, and the airports, and it just winds up being a nightmare. Then when you wind up simplifying everything, like, oh, I'm not doing it any different. You see all the guys, like, look at Best Damn EDC, man. He's went to shows and carried the most and been through the most. Now when you see him, he's literally just walking around with his phone now. Like, eventually everybody winds up at the same spot, simplified, because your quality is going to be just the same for the most part, right? It's how you film. It's literally, if you're filming for editing, if you're doing that, then everything else will work out. You don't need all the other shit if you can do that. If you can just film for your editing, like if you know, like when you show up to the show, you know you're going to need an intro, make 5 to 10 intros, right? What type of videos are you planning on doing, right? Well, maybe you don't know yet. So go around the show, film your stuff, and right before the end, you say, okay, well, I have these types of videos I can do, like, say, like what I did, the craziest Knives of Blade show. Okay, well, what about the most innovative Knives of Blade show? Because we've seen 10 things at the show that were super innovative, right? Or whatever, right? Like, you know that now, so now do those intros. Like, hey guys, today we're at Blade Show and we're gonna go check out the most innovative stuff, you know, whatever. That's, you know, you wind up filming for those things. And then, like, when you're walking around, well, you know, it'll be cool to have some chatter of you bullshitting around. So, you know, film that, right? Film you talking to people and, you know, or just walking around, you know, saying, hey, let's go check this out or whatever, because you can add that stuff in. When you don't realize that you're going to need that stuff, or the worst thing is you film something and then when you watch it in your editing thing and the lighting sucked, you can't even see it, or the audio is shit. So knowing that, and knowing, hey, let's do a little B-roll before we leave. This stuff was a little dark. It might not come up good. So then you record some B-roll. Now you didn't sabotage everything. You know, just stuff like that.
Yeah. That's and that's where I'm still learning quite a bit. I am incorporating a lot more B-roll into stuff now, which is cool. Taking little tricks, like you bring up a window and you're showing different finishes on knives or something like that, and stuff like that. Like that's cool. I've done that a few times now, so I'm starting to learn that kind of stuff. I'm taking tips and tricks from all you guys, so getting better.
Show it if you say it, or show it instead of saying it. Like, I love that, because you can shorten up a video, a 20-minute video, to 10 minutes just by showing the things you want to say without saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I if I want to put it this way, I don't have to tell you there's 4 different color options of this knife if I show it to you, right? So now I just cut that out. And I show you a picture. Stuff like that. Yeah, efficiency. Exactly, dog. Yeah. It's just being efficient, being very efficient with everything. That is that saves you in every way. You know, just obviously, you know.
Yeah.
What kind of editing software do you use, Jerad?
Right now, I'm using, so like I said, I'm doing everything on my phone. I was doing everything on the computer before, and I was using Adobe. But now I do everything off my phone. I use UCut for my editing videos. It's called YOU Cut. And then for my thumbnails, I use InShot. I used to use KineMaster for my editing on the phone. It works really well. It's very easy to use. It's very basic, but it gives you everything you need for the videos that I do. Same thing with UCut. Very simple, very basic, very easy to use. And then InShot. InShot is good for thumbnails. Then I also use Artlist for footage and music. So Artlist does have AI stuff too. I haven't really used it on there, but it does have it now. But mainly, like, say if you need the footage of Chicago or the footage of St. Louis, or you need a girl running down a beach or a cop blowing up a car or whatever, you can get that from footage. So it's just footage of things, and they have so much on there. Like, it's endless, the stuff you can get on there. Knife stuff, all kinds of shit. And then music, it's got endless music. So you get real good music on there. And it's licensed, so you can use it if you, if you have it. So that's what I use for that. And then that's pretty much all I need right now to do everything.
Awesome, man. Chris, you got anything else? I know we're kind of thinning out the herd here, and Jared's given us quite a few hours of time here.
Yeah,
so
appreciate it, Jared. No,
no problem.
Man, I click your links when I can to try to, hit the affiliate stuff. And, one of the cool things, you sent me this when I bought a couple things off of you from, on Whatnot. And,
what was that, Chris? Oh, that big ass friggin' pocket axe.
Yeah.
I sent it to you.
Yeah, you sent this to me when I bought a couple things. I bought, I think, 2 knives, and it was my first.
That was an extra, right?
Yeah,
it was an extra. Damn right, it was.
Just threw it in. Yeah, I didn't even know it was coming, and so you've done so many cool things for the community, and I really appreciate it. I mean, not
I like
just
doing that for people,
Sam and I, but I couldn't understand why. I never really thought about a lot of different features of the different knives before.
Yeah.
And when you explained them, you're one of the first channels I was turned on to, and I was searching because I was trying to sharpen a couple knives I have, and I wasn't getting very good success. And I was like, okay, well, what might I be doing wrong? And so I found you through searching for sharpening, and then just continue to watch. And so long story short is just, I see what you do for the community. I've grown a lot from watching you, and I never felt like you've ever tried to sell me anything. You talk about the product, the good and the bad, and you let me make the decision if it's for me or not. And I think that's something that I really respect about how you handle your channel. The only other thing that I would say is I really enjoyed some of the things that you did, like when you were comparing the Vision FG. You took here's the premium version, here's Wee's version, here's the VV's version. You had 3 different models out. You compared them and tested them to figure out which one. I know tests like that have to take forever to film and get it all done. But that was one of my favorites and most memorable because I didn't buy the Wii version, and I'm a sucker for marketing, and typically will, if I've got options, typically default to buying the premium. So I didn't that go around, and quite honestly, it was probably just because of the pocket clip and you breaking that down on that one. But yeah, I loved watching the video and watching you throw stuff around, and went, yeah, I don't throw my stuff around, but I certainly drop it from time to time, and knowing what would happen. Yeah. So really cool stuff, man. I thank you very much. And it was great talking with you tonight.
Man, I appreciate that. And I'm definitely going to do more and more videos like that. I have so many videos in my head that I want to do. But you're right, though, that's the thing, is that those types of videos, instead of you being able to upload, 4 videos, you can upload 1. So like, it makes it a lot difficult because you have to put so much time into it. Now, the only way you can mitigate that is if you only put a little bit of time into it each day. But I'm going to figure it out, though, because I love doing those types of videos. And you're right, those are really good for the channel. Everybody loves them. And I get to use them over and over and over and over. I get to make shorts out of them. I can refer them so many times over. So they always do good for the channel. I'm definitely going to do more of those. I got like a top 10 sharpening system video coming soon that I'm supposed to do already a long time ago, but one of the companies asked me to hold back on it, so I did. But that's going to be coming soon, along with a lot of other stuff. But I appreciate that, man. Now I'm really glad I gave you that knife.
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, I do have another question based off what you just said.
Go ahead.
Now, because I didn't think about 1x4 stones going obsolete. So, but I do know that my KME I bought 5 or 6 years ago, and so they've changed. You know, stuff's changed so much and gotten so much better. If I were to look at a new system, and I wanted to do another fixed blade, which one?
Depends on your budget. I always want to ask, because like you said, I don't like to sell anybody something. I want to know what their budget is so I can tell them the best thing for that budget. So if you're in the under $300 range, I would say get the Zarok, which is the TS Prof clone. It's about $90 right now on my Neeve Knife sharpening store supplies on Amazon. And then get the center clamp, and then all you got to get is a good set of stones from there, which then I would probably recommend the Hapstone Starts if you're, like I said, if you want to stay under the $300 range. Now, if you do got the money for it, I'm going to recommend something from probably TS Prof or the UKSG. They have a really good system. It's like I said, it just depends on the budget and whether or not you want to buy everything at once, because that's also an option where it's like one purchase, get everything, or, which is always better, to basically pick the best from everything. You know, it costs more and it does take more effort, but you get better out of it.
You get the results. Yeah. I want to switch to resin. You know, I've done a fair amount of diamond stuff. Like I said, I can get my stuff as sharp as I want it, but I really want to be able to start being able to do things like, hey, I want a much better edge than what came on the knife. Right? That's 100%. My goal.
Well, also when you use stuff like that, like you wind up realizing stropping, honing. I seen Rob, I see all your comments, by the way. You know, when you're stropping and honing and stuff like that, it gets so much easier when you have lower edge angles. So if you have a good system that can put a nice flat, say 15-degree edge bevel on your knife, that is like 5 times easier to freehand strop back. So now you have an edge that, like my Ziphius, I sharpened that like a year and a half ago. I'm still stropping it back because it's a low edge angle. So my diamond emulsion is way more effective on it. So you get to appreciate the knife so much more when you have just a good set of stones, a good system, and bonded stones. If you're going to ever hone, like that is like worlds apart from any other thing you can hone. Like it's so easy to lay your bevel on it nice and flat and just do 2 or 3 passes per side and your edge is super sharp again. And once you kind of get the hang of sharpening, you realize how little effort you really have to put into maintaining your stuff. That's the problem, is people will try to maintain a sharpness and it'll backfire because they're putting too much effort, too much work. They're putting too much pressure, too much time, too many passes, whatever. But when you wind up learning and you have good setups, man, you realize like, man, this is going to take me 2 seconds to tune up, literally, like maybe 15 seconds to be literal. But then it's going to last you for another 2-3 weeks before you have to do it again.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Again, appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, Jerad, and giving us some time. I know a couple months ago I said we were going to go and grab dinner, and then Blade Show Texas was going to come, and I was like, I wasn't going to go, but now I went, so I was like, all right, I'll just see him there. But Chris and I still do want to do dinner with you one night.
We should.
So we're only a couple hours from you, so we'd love to come and hang out with you. So we'll figure out something. We'll arrange something. You're welcome back on the show anytime. I do appreciate you hanging out with us tonight.
Absolutely.
And say hello to Kara for us if she can hear us. Hi, Kara. Thank you very
I'll
much
definitely do that.
for all your time, man.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, Robert, glad I could hook you up, man. Sorry, go ahead.
I just say, hey, work hard, stay tough.
You too, man. Work hard, stay tough.
Stay tough. Peace. All right, man. Thanks, dude.
Take it easy.
Everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.